The world is getting crazier. People are acting more and more insane. The end of the world is tomorrow. There's only one thing to do when the world is falling apart. Listen to Basil and Gonz as they discuss this week's news and events through the lens of Bible prophecy.
You are listening to Canary Crime News Talk.
Hey everybody, you are listening to Canary Crime News Talk. Today is July 10th, 2020, episode 217, and this week, Secret Science of the Vatican. And my name's Basil.
And this is Gonz. Welcome everybody to another live stream podcast episode. If you're listening later on, then welcome to...
Yeah, buddy.
I know. Full of Hope in the chats is asking for super chats. And yes, the Face Like the Sun channel is completely demonetized by the overlords. So no super chats available. But we appreciate the thoughts. It's the thought that counts, right?
Do we have super chat on the Canary Cry Radio YouTube channel?
We might.
I don't know if we have that set up.
I don't know if we have it set up, but...
I don't know. But you can always try. If you're trying to do super chats, head to Canary Cry Radio YouTube channel. See if it does it there. It'll pop into the same stream for us, and we'll make it work. But there will be more ways to support the show later on, so stick around for that. Gonz, anything exciting happened since the last episode last Wednesday?
Well, a couple things. One, Amazon told me that I violated community guidelines with Age of Deceit, Fallen Angels, and the New World Order.
Oh, there you go.
But it's still on sale. Like, you can still buy the DVD on Amazon, but I don't know what that means. I don't know if they just keep the money or what, but so that's...
Yeah, you're just shaking, rattling cages all over the internet.
I know. I think I made everybody mad, I made, like, the Q people mad. I made, like, the Lib Joes mad. Just make everybody mad. The other thing,
making me mad, I'll tell you that.
I know I made you all mad before the show. One other thing, I wanted to thank a longtime producer, an important producer of the show. His name's Chad, and he's helped us run the Canary Cry .community, and he sent me some chocolate, some really fancy chocolate, and I'm going to show it on the screen there for people that are that can see or watching. It's the Dick Taylor Craft chocolate, and they're so nice that I don't want to eat them. It's like I don't want to open and eat these chocolates because they seem
big.
Like they're big. They're like collectibles, They come in these nice
yeah, keep
packages.
That around, man. That'll be worth something.
I know, that's what I'm saying. I don't want to eat them and like ruin it, But just a thank you to Chad, and it's funny because the box said keep out of heat, and there it was in the sun.
Yeah,
right there
in the front of your house or something.
On the porch. Yeah. Good job, Good job, people, male people.
Yeah,
but there you go.
They're doing rain or sleet or sunshine or leaving chocolate in the baking heat of Southern California. But I'm sure it's great. They seem to have retained their shape, so that's a good.
Yeah. Nothing was melted, so at least I don't.
The only thing that exciting happened to me since last show was my trash can was stolen.
Yeah, you were telling me about that.
Trash can is.
What's the deal?
It's a big mystery.
Maybe
trash day came and went, and I went to go bring the trash back in, and the trash was gone. So I think maybe the FBI or something needed to borrow it to rifle through my records and my mail.
Yeah, you got somebody going through your trash to see what kind of shenanigans you've been up to.
And they said, "Ooh, this is just so good. I want to take the whole can home."
Either that, or they're going to find some DNA on you since you're not compliant with all the DNA places. So now they can find like a tissue paper or something.
I went to my doctor again this week because I pay so much for the insurance. I figure I'll just go whenever I want.
Yeah.
So I went for an unrelated problem, and she asked me again if I wanted a COVID test. I said, no, thank you. I've still got the paper from last time. I'm just an irresponsible patient. And she said, hold on, let me make a call to the FBI real quick and let them know you're out of compliance.
So, there you go. Maybe that's why they took your trash.
She didn't say that, but she was thinking it.
Well, maybe that's it. They'll find COVID in your trash can, and then they can label you.
That's how they get you.
Yeah.
That's how they get you. Okay, everybody, keep your COVID to yourself. Let's jump into the episode. What do you say, Gons?
Let's do. We got a lot to talk about today. I got a lot on my mind and on my chest.
Oh.
Is that weird?
Yeah.
No, but people say you got to get stuff off your chest, right?
Yeah. So there's a lot of stuff on your chest. You got to get it off your chest. All right. Sounds good. Let's, I got to get this Flippy update off my chest.
Flippy update.
Do you want fries with that?
Okay, so this is from Washington Post. I saw a funny thing the other day. Everybody's saying George Washington was racist, so we got to take down all the George Washington statues. And the Washington Post, famous liberal news outlet, I think they need to change their name. I don't think they can have such a racist name anymore. We got to cancel the Washington Post for being so racist. Okay.
We should just.
This is not the article I wanted. Hold on. Oh shoot.
Democracy dies in darkness.
I opened the wrong one.
I think you had you had it on a different browser. Right?
I think if you get a JavaScript blocker, I think you can get past all these paywalls. But here we go. WashingtonPost.com. The article is titled "No Masks, No Coughs. Robots can be just what the doctor ordered in time of social distancing." As the coronavirus pandemic rewrites the rules of human interaction, it also has inspired new thinking about how robots and other machines might step in. Oh, of course.
It's as if they listened to the show like 6 months ago and they thought, hey, maybe we should talk about that on the WAPO.
Yeah. Well, the fact of the matter is, we can't have all this human to human interaction. We need robots in between us to make sure that we're safe. That's the only way. The stuff of the bot world, early factory line automation up to today's artificial intelligence has been a growing fact of life for decades. The worldwide health crisis has added urgency to the question of how to bring robotics into the public health equation. Nowhere is that truer than in Japan, a country with a long fascination of robots. From android assistants to robot receptionists, since the virus arrived, robots have offered their services as bartenders, security guards, and delivery men. But they don't necessarily need to supplant humans. I like that. They don't necessarily need to supplant humans. Yeah. They could, and maybe they should, but they don't necessarily need to. Researchers say they can also bridge the gap between people mindful of social distance now or when the next major contagion hits. Want to drop in on your elderly parents but are afraid of passing on the coronavirus infection? Maybe you're still missing your grandchildren and finding Zoom chats a little limiting. Ideas are brewing. Hugging the Bot, the new Me robot, developed by Japanese company Avatarin, is basically a tablet computer on a stand with wheels. The user controls the avatar from a laptop or a tablet, and his or her face shows on the avatar's screen. Quote, "It's really like teleporting your consciousness," said founder and CEO Akira Fukubori. "You are really present with your little face on a screen."
That's either really great marketing or they're just crazy over there.
I think they're drinking their own Kool-Aid, man.
Oh, of course.
This is serious.
They're like, oh, virus? Oh, perfect time.
Teleporter consciousness. I can't do the Japanese voice anymor. The
teleporter consciousness.
Already available commercially, Avatarin. How do you say that?
Avatarin?
Avatarin. That's much better. Avatarin's robots have been used by doctors to interact with patients in the Japanese coronavirus ward, by university students in Tokyo to, quote, attend a graduation ceremony, which we reported on, and by fans of the Yomiuri Giants baseball team to remotely interview their favorite players after games held in empty stadiums. There are even avatar robots that have just arrived in the International Space Station, but it's the way the robot is already being used by families separated by the coronavirus that really underscores the heart of the technology. Starting with the family of the company's chief operating officer, Kevin Kajitani, whose parents live in Seattle. Quote, his parents can't always come and visit their grandson, Fukabori said, but they always access the avatar and can even chase their grandson, and the grandson really hugs the robot. Avatarin is part of Japan's ANA airline group, and the company has joined with et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And that's the most important part, is that you can now chase a child around with a robot, and the child can hug a cold steel machine in place of hugging their grandparents. So there you go. We have, we use Flippy. I forgot to mention it for those who this is your first show. Flippy is our colloquial name for the disembodied robot arm robot that is stealing our jobs, enslaving our children, and flirting with our spouses. But we use it as a conversation to show how robots are going to sneak their way into our lives. And we've seen it across the board, from our jobs to taking our place as fans in recreational events like baseball games, and now they can even take our place in the family circle. No longer do we need those filthy human meat bags to feel the love of our grandchildren. Now we can, roll around, chase them around in sort of a dystopian Skynet cute family chase around the house.
Yeah,
so there you go. Sorry, Grandpa, you're getting replaced.
You stopped reading it right as you were about to read the X Prize Foundation, and we've mentioned how X seems to be a common letter that keeps popping up in reference to these types of tech. And the X in the circle being what certain Satanists consider as the mark of the beast.
Right.
There's, if you scroll down the article, Basil, there's a cleaning patrol section where people watching can see these Japan's ZMP. They have these strange googly eyes, and I think they blink at you, and they like talk to you through the eyes and stuff. It's really kind of
my brethren.
It's your people, and they clean too, I think. So, or they patrol. So there you go.
That's how it starts.
I know.
First they patrol for spills, and then they patrol for dissidents.
Yeah.
Out after curfew.
Yeah, and they also have the bot bartender, which is a literal Flippy with a robot arm. And also a dancing robot that.
We love the dancing robots.
Yeah, and this one is in the classroom.
I'm fine if the dancing robots steal that from us. I mean, dancing's fun and all, but if it's between dancing robots and a robot taking the place of my grandfather, I might I'll choose the dancing one.
What's creepy is people can potentially pass away, but then they can have certain not VR, but maybe like some kind of database left with
like
consciousness database left.
Black Mirror episode.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
There is a secondary Flippy update if you want to do it really quickly, Basil.
Okay. Let's do it. Let's pop over. Sorry, there's a cat stepping on where my mouse should be. Let's see here. Oh, over on Facebook. Yeah. Somebody shared this with the Facebook group, and I just had to throw it in there. Sorry for listeners on the podcast, but viewers can see this. It looks like a fun new activity. I mean, talk about Flippy taking us all for a ride. This is a video of a giant robot arm, a giant Flippy arm, and it has a chair on the end of it, and you can sit in it, strap yourself in, and then Flippy just whips you around.
I think this video is sped up or something to make it more dramatic looking. But
it is pretty dramatic looking.
I don't think that's the natural way. And then if you scroll down, it's kind of funny. Somebody posted our smaller version, and it's actually the same thing, robot arm, except it's got a baby car seat in it, which is equally or more troubling, I would say.
Yes, very troubling. Oh, yeah, they look related. So there you go. Now you can just strap right in, have Flippy hold you firmly by the waist and whip you around like a... I don't even know. I don't even know what you shouldn't be whipping people around like this.
No, not healthy.
There you go. It's fun. There's something in Flippy's got something for everybody there. Some people want burgers flipped. Some people want to be the burger and get flipped. You weirdos.
Okay.
So there you go. It's a good time.
All right, we got a quick update here.
Well, interrupt this broadcast to give you a brief update. By the end of this timely interruption, you will be thoroughly updated.
Epstein didn't kill himself.
We got a couple stories here. First off, the Jerusalem Post published today by Reuters. U.S. files superseding indictment against Ghislaine Maxwell. U.S. prosecutors have filed a superseding indictment against Ghislaine Maxwell. The indictment was made public on Friday in Manhattan federal court, and like the original indictment, accused Maxwell of 6 criminal counts. Maxwell has been charged with luring underage girls so Epstein can sexually abuse them. And that's all it says here. It's just weird. I understand what a superseding indictment is, but what's the point? Is if it's the same charges, why are they superseding it?
Because they want well, there's a couple of reasons. If they're trying to supersede it, that, on one hand, they could want to, have their indictment take precedence over another's, meaning that they might have more evidence to bring against Ghislaine.
Or is it a different group that's...
Yeah, well, it depends. Yeah, hold on. I'm sorry. Let me read this again because I wasn't reading along with you, so I missed a couple of points
it's
here.
2 paragraphs of just barely anything. All it says is it was just
You're
made.
reading from the MSN article?
No, that's the next article.
That's why.
Yeah.
The iPost article.
JPost. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. This font is so tiny.
You need to figure out your
U.S. prosecutors have filed superseding indictment against Ghislaine Maxwell, the former girlfriend, longtime. The indictment was made on. Yeah, I wonder who it's superseding. That's interesting. It's just like another indictment, apparently. Yeah, I actually really don't know what that superseding indictment is. Shoot. Maybe you can, is superseding indictment, maybe there's like a more specific definition for it. Why don't you take a look at that? And
I took a peek at the, what it is. And basically it's what you said, that there could be more evidence or it could be like a different party, but there's nothing really other than that reported on it. But there's another part of this that's, just again, this is a quick update. We're not going to dig too deep here, but the second story, did you want to do that one?
Yeah, I'll do the second one.
Oops, where'd it go? Oh, it's the MSN article. Give me 1 second here.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Well, you want me to jump into this MSN one?
Do it.
Yeah, okay. So this is on MSN. It's called Million Bond. The article says lawyers for former socialite Ghislaine Maxwell urged a U.S. judge to release her from federal prison after she posts a $5 million bond. Maxwell won't flee the country and faces health risks from the coronavirus at the New York jail where she's being held, her attorneys said in a 22-page court filing Friday. They proposed that she be confined to her home and said 6 other people, including friends and siblings, will guarantee her bond. A federal judge is scheduled to hear arguments on bail July 14th. Maxwell, the daughter of late British publishing tycoon, and then they go into why she's in jail. Yeah, that's very interesting because as we read on the last episode, the jail that she's currently being held in is described as a hell on earth situation.
Right.
Apparently, it's a really bad, what is the word I'm looking for? It's a bad building.
Yeah.
For some reason, I can't find the word I'm looking for. But yeah, so it's, super nasty. The heat and the cold or the air conditioning goes out all the time. She's in.
We talked about it in the last episode, how it like the guards have been charged with like, what was it, raping the inmates or something? It was like a crazy.
The guards at that jail get put in jail because of all the beatings and rapes that they commit on the individuals being incarcerated there. So, it's not a surprise that she's trying to get out of there. And I don't buy this risk of coronavirus, though, because unless she's being held with a bunch of other prisoners, which my understanding was that she was being separated and was protected. A lot of sexual offenders get protected status, especially when they're affiliated with pedophilic activities. They get protected status in jail because, the other inmates want a punching bag. So my understanding was that she had her own little zone. The only people she would catch coronavirus from is guards and stuff like that.
Right.
But you could take mitigating steps towards not giving her the coronavirus. Now, of course, coronavirus is one of the leading theories right now on how she will mysteriously die or disappear before she's able to name the names. That will, allegedly has the potential to bring down a bunch of elites around the world. But yeah, I don't know. This will be interesting to see if she gets this $5 million bond and is able to get out. If she's in, the problem with sending her home is we already know her good friend and confidant Epstein. If you believe the mainstream explanation is that he killed himself in jail. What would be stopping her from killing herself in her own house? So I don't know. This is. It's no surprise that they are filing to get her out of this jail. That's a normal thing for lawyers to do, to keep you out of jail as long as possible. But we'll see. We'll see if this gets granted. I think if it does get granted, it just increases the chances that she will not be available. Sorry, Ghislaine is not available right now to name names.
What's really kind of absurd is it says here, and this is obviously lawyer talk, but the lawyer says Miss Maxwell vigorously denies the charges, intends to fight them, and is entitled to the presumption of innocence. I mean, you have like independent people and professional journalists. You have so many people that have called out stuff over the years.
There's a lot of evidence, but she's innocent until proven guilty, Gons.
All right. Okay. Good luck with that, okay, Ghislaine? Because there's people in the chat right now that probably have more on her than you know what I mean? Like, it's just ridiculous that I don't know. Of course, the lawyer has to say that, so I'm not saying that it's...
The scary part for her, if I were her, I wouldn't want to get let out of jail, because then you're more susceptible to outside forces accidentally helping you drop your toaster into the hot tub or something like that. At least she's safe, allegedly, in this jail, although it's the scariest jail she could possibly be in.
Allegedly.
So yeah, allegedly.
All right.
Allegedly.
It's all alleged.
All right. Well, we'll keep you guys posted on the Ghislaine Maxwell thing there. We'll see if she gets moved out, because this whole thing is certainly not over. We'll see what happens.
No, it's not. All right, we got a lot of not a lot, but a good amount of COVID stuff to get into here that connects to the Vatican and the whole deal. So here we go.
COVID. Science is truth.
Dr. Fauci. Watch live Q&A with Daddy Fauci and director Dr. Collins. Hold on. What the heck is going on with this page here? The title doesn't fit. Watch live Q&A with Dr. Fauci and NIH director Dr. Collins on coronavirus pandemic. And the No Agenda show on yesterday's episode really kind of tore into this 28-minute show, basically, with Dr. Francis Collins pretending like he doesn't know what's going on as the head of the NIH. And they did a good job of sort of exposing what's going on here. But there was a couple things that I noticed that I haven't seen anybody really report on yet. So let me play a little clip here. And this is Dr. Fauci and Dr. Francis Collins. If you're a Christian, you might know of Dr. Francis Collins because he's the guy that was part of the DNA. What was the name of the project?
The Human Genome Project.
There you go, Human Genome Project. And he's the guy who's out there as a believer in God. He came into science as an atheist, and he stepped out as a believer in God and all this kind of stuff. But his associations here are not looking good for people that kind of understand what's going on with this whole situation. But I want to play a little clip from the interview conversation they had here, and listen to Dr. Fauci's answer and the setup by Dr. Francis Collins.
Good virus for a vaccine to work. It has this ability where natural infection does seem to be protective. It doesn't seem to mutate too rapidly compared to some others. Is that fair?
That is fair. It's an RNA virus, and as we know, RNA viruses mutate, but the functional consequence of that mutation so far doesn't look to be impressive.
Okay. Let's just hold up for a moment. So basically, Dr. Francis Collins set it up and said, hey, the virus is a problem, but it's not, the mutations, it doesn't happen too rapidly. Like, it's not that bad of a mutation situation. And Dr. Fauci kind of acknowledges that, like, hey, oh yeah, you're right. It's not too crazy. It does mutate. But just a week ago, there was a whole bunch of articles citing how crazy this mutation is. And The Hill, Fauci warns coronavirus mutation may cause virus to spread more easily. And down here, there's a quote from Dr. Fauci that says, the data is showing there's a single mutation that makes the virus be able to replicate better and maybe have high viral loads. It just seems that the virus replicates better and may be more transmissible. So which one is it? Is it bad? Or is it not that big of a deal? Like,
yeah, he's simultaneously saying that the mutations make it incredibly worse, way more, communicable and way more deadly. And then later on saying, well, I mean, it mutates a little bit, but it's no big deal.
And Dr. Francis Collins saying it's good. It's good that it doesn't mutate too crazy because we can kind of, find a vaccine for it.
Right.
It just, I don't know, man. There was that inconsistency really bothered me.
Yeah, and again, I mean, look, this isn't even full-on conspiracy theory stuff.
No.
We're just looking at the mainstream news and comparing it to each other. So this is news analysis more than it is conspiracy theory.
Yeah, and along the way, I found this video. There's a few videos of Dr. Francis Collins playing his guitar and singing. And it's all in context to his, NIH position. But I wanted to play a little bit of the song here. It's called "It Takes You," HHS for Health and Human Services, and this was actually published on YouTube. It looks like May 7th of 2018, so it's a couple years old.
Okay.
Yeah, let's check this out. They're gonna play.
HHS has a mission, baby. We can make a difference that's real. I'm not talking about some lofty vision. I'm talking about how people feel. HHS serves everybody. We protect their health and well-being. I'm not talking perhaps or maybe we make a true difference that's seen. It takes a UACF. It takes a UACL and the regions too. Oh yeah.
Okay, I don't know. How much more to take.
Oh yeah.
That's so I guess that's what he's doing with his time as NIH director, is writing jingles for his people. And it's just a very bizarre thing. And there was another one about from 2013, some like blues jingle for something else, but just very bizarre. I don't know. What'd you think, Basil? Good tune?
Keep your day job there, buddy.
And along with that, he one of the things that that he's involved in is something called the BioLogos Foundation. And the BioLogos Foundation is a Christian advocacy group that attempts to reconcile evolution with the idea of God. And it was established by Francis Collins in 2007 after receiving letters and emails from people who had read his book, The Language of God. The primary audience was Christians, but Collins also sought to engage with skeptics and seekers invested in science. And BioLogos affirms evolutionary creation as a core commitment. And, I get that there's different views on the creation process, but I don't know. If you look at the origin of evolutionary biology in general, it goes back to Darwin and the occult ties to all that. Have you studied some of that, Basil? How much occultism is involved in the actual?
Yeah, Yeah, we used to do a lot more of explore a lot more insight into that whole thing in the early days of Canary Cry Radio, if I remember correctly. But yeah, especially with Darwin and a lot of his supporters, financiers, things like that. They were really hooked in with the sort of, and it was a different time where sort of spiritualism was, being the name of the day for, that included practices like seances and all sorts of that type of stuff was kind of the in vogue of his day. But yeah, he was definitely included in a lot of the occult hobbies of his time and his class of people.
Yeah, and it's the origin of a lot of Helena Blavatsky's writings, the Secret Doctrine, which, she basically said Lucifer is a god, and, we need to bring back the Luciferian age and all this kind of stuff. And that whole thing was the foundation of eugenics in the 1900s, and it's what propelled the Nazis and the Aryanism to really, become a factor in the worldview of some of the early scientists, dare I say, quote unquote scientists. Because they were very much involved in occultism. It was especially back then, it was a little bit more woo-woo with science and a lot of the philosophical views. The other thing I want to mention is Collins as a name, and this is just right. I want to be clear that this is speculation, what I'm about to say here, but Collins is considered one of the names of the 13 Illuminati bloodline families.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah, so the Collins, and as well as the Collins elite, who we've talked about on the Face Like the Sun channel, who are allegedly these good guy Christians in the secret government that are opposed to what the whole New World Order system is trying to build, and they're trying to call it out, and it's supposed to be this Christian group from within doing it. Kind of ties into the whole movement now with Trump. But again, nothing that I can connect directly from anything that I've looked into in terms of Francis Collins himself, other than they share the name. And Collins went to Yale, but he wasn't on any kind of list with the Skull and Bones or anything like that. So nothing direct there. But it's a very interesting connection if there is any. And one of the connections that I remember of early on, there was a guy named John Todd who was exposing a lot of the Illuminati stuff. He claimed to have come out of Illuminati family, and the Todd family, that family name was a branch of the Collins bloodline, allegedly.
Oh, interesting.
So there's that connection. And one more thing, and then I'll let you kind of chime in, Basil. This is an article that was published on the tablet.co.uk back on May 28th of 2020. It's a news briefing, Church in the World, and it just talks about all kinds of stuff going on around the world from, I think it's a Catholic outlet here. But it says here, Dr. Francis Collins, a prominent Christian geneticist and head of the National Institute of Health in the United States, was last week named the winner of the 2020 Templeton Prize. The Templeton panel said that they were awarding Collins the £1.1 million prize for his achievements in the, quote, integration of faith and reason.
Right.
A former head of the Human Genome Project, Collins has spoken publicly about his conversion from atheism to Christianity, which began after witnessing the deep faith of his medical patients. As director of the NIH, Collins is currently leading U.S. efforts to develop a vaccine for COVID-19. He is a member of the Vatican Pontifical Academy of Sciences, appointed by Pope Benedict XVI in 2009. Is that 16? Yeah, I think that's 16. My Roman numerals right there. He will formally receive the prize in a virtual ceremony later this year. But there you go. He's a member of the Vatican Pontifical Academy of Sciences. He's being held up as this great man to integrate faith and reason, and he's at the forefront of bringing vaccines into, I think, as part of a way to convince a lot of the Christians out there, especially the ones that are, anti-vax type of people. They tend to be more Christian or evangelical. And
or even, I mean, this is off topic, but this was something I was thinking about yesterday. Was the anti-vax community is an interesting community because I think it's like half evangelical Christians and then half, new age type people who equally don't like the idea of strange science being injected into their bodies.
Right. Yeah, no, that's a good point. And I just think in general, the faith community is more inclined to a type of freedom of choice in these matters. And we've pointed out how and a lot of people online have pointed out how, hey, when it comes to abortions, it's my body, my choice. But when it comes to vaccines, hey, you gotta abide by the authority. And
that's actually interesting. You mentioned that. I'll let you finish your thought, and I want to talk more about that real quick.
Well, just the point being that if you bring in a man, quote unquote, a man of faith in front of this and science, you're pretty much running out of excuses other than you're a conspiracy theorist. And we've talked about in the last episode how there's this divide, this war, this battle between the scientific authoritarianism. Or authority, basically, is the way they put it, against the quote-unquote conspiracy theorists, which admittedly a lot of people in that realm are saying some pretty crazy stuff out there, and what gets peddled and what gets repeated and what gets shared and all that is the more extreme claims that are a little bit more fringe than you'd like to. But on this show here, we're trying to walk that narrow path, right? We're trying to be objective. But hold on to the faith, obviously, but say okay, there's a place for science, like experimental science and how it can apply to help. But then there's this political side of how the entire scientific infrastructure in the United States and the world has been completely taken over by politics. And now we have this situation where you're being categorized as a crazy conspiracy theorist in association with these crazy fringe things that people say. And it's just, I don't know, it's a divide and conquer method that's becoming really intense. And I feel like, Francis Collins here is being put in a position to be a Pied Piper for those that will say, okay, well, you know what, maybe he's a believer, he's a Christian, he believes in God. How could, he wouldn't be against hurting the people or anything like that. So I guess the vaccines are okay, kind of, mentality.
Yeah, well, that's kind of the whole point of this. It's a big political move, and Fauci has said in the past, we hear him say over and over and over, oh, there's a big anti-science sentiment and a big anti-vaccine sentiment, and that's what's going to kill everybody in the world. Everybody who doesn't want a vaccine, they're just ignorant, and they're mostly Christians, and so we really need to battle this anti-science rhetoric going on the internet. With all these crazy religious people.
Right.
And what I see of this Francis Collins, Dr. Francis Collins, this whole move is a political move to try to sway the Christian anti-vax movement a little bit to soften the resistance against vaccines. I mean, now Dr. Francis Collins and Daddy Fauci have been associated for a long time, one being the mentor of the other. I believe who was it? Was Francis Collins the mentor of Daddy Fauci?
I think so, yeah.
For a while, and they worked together in the HIV.
They've known each other for decades.
But I see, him, Francis Collins being brought in as such a close associate to come in as the so-called Christian guy who loves vaccines. It's a political move. It's a messaging move to try to soften the resistance from, the Christian anti-vaxxers, which is a pretty brilliant move. I don't think it's going to work because, usually, especially since he's associated with the Vatican being a Catholic enterprise, obviously, and it just shows a pretty stark misunderstanding of how Christianity works. Where they're like, all these American Protestants don't like vaccines. Well, let's bring in this Catholic associated guy. That'll get them. It's just not really how it works. It's like,
especially as we get into the next couple stories that relate to the Pope and his association with the CCP and communism.
Yeah, we have a lot of stuff with the Pope coming up.
So.
And just to kind of finish out the other thought I was mentioning, it first came up. It came up on my Facebook. Oh man, months ago, where it'll be a meme. And it's, it'll have a liberal cartoon on one side and a conservative cartoon on the other side. And the liberal cartoon will say, wear a mask. And then the conservative cartoon will say, my body, my choice. And then the liberal will say, well, it's not it's not just your body. There's another body involved. And then the conservatives, you don't say, comparing the abortion argument where, it's my body, my choice. Well, it's not just your body. There's a body of another human being involved, right?
Right.
And so it's used as this sort of satirical comment on how, the juxtaposition or the man, my words are bad today. The conflict between the ideals of
contradictions.
You wear a mask. Yes, thank you. The contradiction. You wear a mask to protect somebody else. Well, you don't get an abortion to protect the baby, type of thing. Right. And then just 2 days ago, on sort of all the liberal people started putting out a meme that literally says the exact same thing, but in the context coming from, a liberal person, meaning, well, if you don't wear a mask, why are you trying to control my body? They're saying the exact same thing, but it just depends on the perspective from which it's coming. It takes on a whole new meaning, which I think is a beautiful illustration of how sort of the liberal and conservative sides will just talk past each other and are essentially trying to say the exact same thing, but have different meaning to it based
different
on their
context.
conditioning.
Yeah,
it's a conditioning issue, and going into all the neuro-linguistic programming type stuff. You can read the same sentence, but depending on your conditioning, it can mean two entirely different things. And it's really, it's really a great illustration of one of the biggest problems that we have. I'll just say specifically in American politics, but surely this pops up around the world, which is, people are unable to see how what they say is actually decoded by the other side. You can be saying the exact same words and pull, entirely opposite results from the meaning of the phrase.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just thought it was fascinating and a good illustration of just the problems that the whole world has right now in communicating with each other.
And that's a good point too, because a lot of science, people think that science is like this cut black and white, dry, like you just see the data and that's, we know what the truth is, but that's not how that works either. You still need a human mind to interpret what the data means. And there's a whole side of philosophy of science that you can dig into where worldview and presuppositions plays a major role in how you identify that data and how you interpret it. So that's why, when Fauci says
science is truth,
and Francis Collins is with him, kind of, buddy with him, it's just interesting to me. I see a problem because, especially scripturally, you see John, I think it's chapter 17, verse 17, sanctify them by the truth. Your word is truth. And, when you talk about truth, Francis Schaeffer, Francis Schaeffer, the apologist, he used to talk about the truth, the truth being, the truth about God, the truth about the world, the truth about humans. and the Word of God being something that addresses that truth. And and so when we talk about truth, you know what I mean? Like that's, I think, the truth that cuts to the core of the situation we're in now in this world. But when Fauci says science is truth, and again, we just reiterate the point over and over again, but it's a philosophical statement. It is not. It's not a statement you can make scientifically. Science is truth is not a scientific statement. So.
Yeah, and back to the context of the "my body, my choice" argument. Depending on if you're a conservative or a liberal, or hopefully you're able to stand outside that and see the ridiculousness of it. It's the statistics are the same way. Depending on how they're presented and the conditioning that comes beforehand, you can look at the exact same set of numbers and come to two entirely different conclusions. Yeah. Which is why, and I think it's funny because in this world, it's one thing to have a passionate, emotional argument with somebody. It's another thing to lay out the data and make your case. It's always much more effective when you can show numbers, lay out the numbers, and then extrapolate a conclusion from there. And that's seen as truth. Numbers are just truth. It's the science. It's the data. Right. But in the same way, that's how you lie with statistics. You can have the exact same data, and depending on your conditioning and your layout of the data, you can come to not just different conclusions, completely opposite, diametrically opposed conclusions.
Exactly.
Which is why communication between, a conservative and a liberal can be so infuriating, is because you can't make, even when you try to lay out a rational, data-based argument, that's not enough. We have this misconception that simple numbers can settle a dispute when it's obvious that it can't. And, the numbers can be interpreted in the same way that a rhetorical argument can be interpreted and twisted depending on what side you're on and what side you're translating from. So there you go. But anyways, that's just that's what's been grinding my gears about people communicating about everything. But specifically, COVID stuff, mask stuff, is they try to lay out these rational numbers-based arguments, and you can talk right past each other. And that's why everybody's so mad at each other, man. They just can't communicate, bro.
What's going to help all of us out is the robots. If it's not the aliens to be the arbiter, it's the robots, because they don't have emotion. They just do the numbers.
We need that pure robotic logic. Nothing can go wrong.
I am not capable of hatred. We're going to go into and connect this. The reason why I wanted to go into the Pope stuff next is because of the point being that Dr. Francis Collins being a part of the, what was it? The member of the Vatican's Pontifical Academy of Sciences. Mm-hmm. And I think this is a good segue into our next section here.
Space Pope Reptilian.
Welcome to Chinese News!
Okay, this is a fun one. We got WashingtonExaminer.com. Racist. We can't have the word Washington on anything. Slave owner. Article is titled "Pope Skips Planned Remarks on Hong Kong's Security Law Report." Pope Francis reportedly skipped planned remarks on China's new Hong Kong national security law that severely restricts the freedoms of its people during his Sunday address. Now, just to catch everybody up, Hong Kong started about a year ago fighting against some extrajudicial laws being placed on them from Beijing. Hong Kong is supposed to be semi-autonomous from China, having its own capitalist society. But Beijing, the capital, the CCP specifically, the Chinese Communist Party, has been trying to tighten its grip. Now, for a year, Hong Kongers have been protesting against the communist government encroaching on the Hong Kong zone. And going so far as to ask personally for Donald Trump to come save them, waving American flags in the streets, protesting communism, trying to keep their capitalistic system going. And yet not getting the attention that they deserve. The article continues. Christopher Altieri, Rome bureau chief for the Catholic Herald, reported Monday that Vatican journalists received word that the Pope would be using part of his address to respond to the situation in Hong Kong. However, that response never came. An embargoed version of the Pope's planned speech was given to reporters over the weekend, but the words on Hong Kong were never spoken by the Pope. Journalist Marco Tossati released the omitted section and translated it from Italian to English. The few sentences expressed concern for the people of Hong Kong, but stopped short of overtly condemning the Chinese government. The Vatican has not yet contested or confirmed the validity of the published portion. In fall of 2018, Pope Francis signed off on an agreement with China that negotiated the nomination of Catholic bishops in the nation. The full details of the arrangement are still unclear, but its tentative nature led to speculation that it may have caused Pope Francis to avoid addressing the situation in Hong Kong. Quote, "The questions journalists have now are what made Pope Francis not say the thing? And what does this tell us about both the Vatican's China policy and who has the Pope's ear in these and other regards? Pope Francis's silence on Hong Kong has long been the subject of speculation, as has the question regarding those from whom he is taking advice in these and other regards. This episode has pushed those questions to the fore," Altieri wrote. Cardinal Joseph Zen, Bishop Emeritus of Hong Kong, spoke at the Wall Street Journal in February, months before the implementation of the new law. Quote, "You can never compromise with a totalitarian regime because they want everything," he said. "Would you have encouraged St. Joseph to negotiate with Herod? He believes that the Hong Kong Catholic Church is being murdered. Quote, if Hong Kong loses its freedom, the church will not be spared. And if the church loses its freedom, it will no longer be able to defend the freedom of the people," Zen elaborated in a tweet on Monday, according to the platform's rough English translation. Cardinal Charles Mangbo, the president of the Federation of Asian Bishops Conferences, Cardinal Charles Mangbo, the president of the Federation of Asian Bishops' Conferences, urged people of faith all around the world to pray for Hong Kong in response to the law. China's restrictions on Hong Kong criminalizes secession, subversion, terrorism, and collusion with foreign forces because of how broadly the law is written. China has the opportunity to crack down on those who oppose governance. Already, a 15-year-old girl has been arrested for waving a Hong Kong independence flag and could face years in prison. For all intents and purposes, mainland China does not allow freedom of religion. For years, Hong Kong has been a bastion of peace for religious people. Now, I think this is obvious, Gong. So just to summarize it for everybody, the Pope was supposed to come out and say something about the situation in Hong Kong and then skipped it and, didn't want to rile up the Chinese government, probably because he's got some big deals going on in China. And I think the law that China recently passed, which we reported on last episode, making it basically passing a law on the world, the entire world, the law saying that if you say anything against the Chinese Communist Party, then you are a criminal. You're a criminal. You're a criminal. And if you step foot in Hong Kong or China, then you can immediately be arrested. And I think the Pope, that's what happened. The Pope couldn't say any. Well, he could and he should have, but he didn't want to say anything bad about the Hong Kong situation because that would put him in the position to be arrested if he ever visited China or Hong Kong. I mean, can you imagine that? If he spoke out against Hong Kong, that would make the Pope a criminal in the eyes of the Chinese Communist Party. And so if he ever showed up on Chinese or Hong Kong territory, I mean, would they? Would they actually arrest the Pope? What would that mean? That would be crazy.
I don't know. A bunch of people might cheer for that one.
Well, that's the thing. A lot of people would.
As long as you're taking people down, it's kind of like you're going down. We're taking you with us. And the other part of this too is, I guess the other bishops and other, associates, so to speak, in Hong Kong or in China. Maybe he thought if he says something against them that they would be arrested too. His constituents.
Possible. That's possible that the Bishop of Hong Kong, as a representative of the Vatican, would then be, fall under this law that would turn him into a criminal. Although it already seems like he is considered a criminal. As is mentioned in this article, there is no freedom of religion, and specifically Christianity is, for all intents and purposes, illegalized in China mainland. At least the only reason that there's a bishop in Hong Kong is because Hong Kong is supposedly this capitalist society that allows for that sort of thing. It's a spooky time for all Chinese religious people. I mean, the Uyghur Muslims are already in concentration camps by the millions. The Christians have been persecuted for decades, and now they're even the Hong Kong Christians can get in trouble.
Yeah, and sure, I think on the surface it's a pretty good reason for the Pope pulling out on some of his comments, but there's another possibility here.
Space Pope Reptilian.
Welcome to Chinese News.
This is lifesitenews.com. Why Chinese whistleblower may be right that communists paid Vatican to shut up about its war on Catholics. This was published back in June 25th, but it's kind of a long article. I don't necessarily need to go through the whole thing here because it gets into Steve Bannon and the whole deal. But I'll read parts of it here. Chinese dissident Guo Wengui claims that the Chinese Communist Party, quote, allocates up to $2 billion a year to buy the Vatican's silence concerning the ongoing persecution of the Catholic Church in China and other human rights abuses. Right. Mr. Guo made an allegation without offering any supporting evidence. In a June 20th interview on Steve Bannon's The War Room, the explosive claim was made in the context of a larger discussion of how the CCP is spending huge sums of money to buy politicians, media, and influence in countries like Australia and Italy, and I would argue the U.S. Quote, 2014, the CPC Inside made the decision every year they want $2 billion to pay to the Vatican to influence the Vatican policy about China/Vatican, and regarding the Christian and Catholic mistreatment, they wanted Vatican to shut up to follow the CPC about religion. The policy, that's disaster, Guo said. These expenditures, according to previous statements by Guo, are part of a larger strategy to achieve global hegemony that goes by the initials BGY. The initials BGY stand for blue, control over the internet, gold, buying influence with money, and yellow, seducing people with sex. Guo said Saturday that the CCP is in pursuit of hegemony, has been investing a fixed percentage of trade earnings with foreign countries into the BGY program since 2014. The goal is to compromise, co-opt, and control as many nation states as possible, especially its key competitor, the U.S. To this end, he says the BGY quota for the United States and other countries, which started at 1%, has been increased from 1% to 5% over the years. And kind of goes into the author's analysis of what it might be going on here. But I think we get the idea of the possibility here. And, I wouldn't be surprised if this was actually taking place, if not for the cover-up of something like what we just talked about in the last article, just bigger things in terms of the vaccine issue, the virus issue, as well as the connection to the Epstein conversation and everything else. It ties to Zionists. I feel like this is a much bigger thing that people can't talk about because they'll, get taken out or whatever. Or they just, because China's technically they're we talked about the Cold War, the Cold War II that China's waging on the West a couple episodes ago. Is a pretty big article. And it just feels like this is just part and part to that whole conversation that, yes, they are imposing themselves in this sort of unspoken war, this Cold War II situation with anybody that opposes freedom or any kind of democratic or open market, free market, anything, and trying to compromise all of it with the use of these types of compromises. And it falls in line with a lot of the Epstein type of things that were going on too, because especially politicians, when they're compromised, then they have to listen to the up on high, or they're going to get taken out, one way or another, either lose all their money, be publicly humiliated, or killed. So yeah, it just seems like the way of the world. And it just seems like this is another power play by China. And I would argue that it's entirely possible that, the Vatican is accepting money to push, because if you look at the Vatican, if you look at especially Pope Francis, he's a Jesuit, right? So they really push the socialistic worldview, and a lot of his statements in the past have also echoed the same type of sentiments as socialists. So I wouldn't be surprised if the worldview here is on par with the Chinese government, at least in terms of the Chinese government being able to use the Pope and the Vatican as another very powerful, religious arm to take over the West, so to speak.
Yeah. And it's interesting, and there's been tentacles being found all over it. Now, a lot of this information I got from the No Agenda show. I recommend everybody check it out. But they had a whole piece on how now the crackdown on the Chinese infiltration of America apparently has been going on quite a bit. Head of the FBI came out on February 10th and just really went in depth. And it was nice to hear, somebody actually in the system, and much less at the top of the system, describing just how influential the Chinese really are, and the different types of espionage been going on, not just governmental, but also scientific espionage, corporate espionage, and how the Chinese, using infiltrants, have been stealing American technology and influence over the decades. But FBI director on February 10th came out and just straight up said it and told everybody, and mentioned how half of all domestic terrorism cases being opened in the U.S., half of them are all against China.
Right.
I think there's a new Chinese related domestic terrorism case opened in the U.S. It was something crazy, like every 3 hours or something, or it was some crazy number.
Yeah.
So, it's nice to know that it's not necessarily being totally ignored by the powers that could do something about it. But, obviously there's some questionable there's some questions regarding the ultimate ability to do anything about it and how far up the infiltration goes. And that's where, Trump fans get a win on that one, because at least the evidence shows, and Trump's rhetoric shows, the anti-infiltration of American corporations and scientific institutions from the Chinese. And so, yeah, I don't know. But it's the wildest thing, going back to the whole, dialectic situation of Hong Kongers waving an American flag to push off communist China, and then you've got groups in America waving communist flags.
Yeah.
Just wanting to bring it on, where we don't even have to look for, obviously, first of all, you look back in history, the most famous accounts of communism happening around the world have resulted in the biggest accounts of nation states murdering their own people, as well as transferring the most wealth from the people to the leadership. But even today, it's not even a history lesson. It's happening today in China.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It just confuses me, man.
Yeah, it's a pretty wild situation. So we're in a doozy, and the Economist cover, the Trump, what was it? The Trump Planet, the cards, the tarot cards. That first card was the East versus West.
There you go.
Definitely coming into play. So, let's move on here, and
you want to talk about some masks? Mask madness, Gons.
Mask madness. I know, it's so crazy.
Here's just a fun one over on the New York Post. The article is titled, Indian Man Wears $4,000 Gold Face Mask During Coronavirus Pandemic.
Bling, bling.
This coronavirus protection is pure gold, Gons.
Am I supposed to do a hold on?
No,
let me,
I was letting the silence speak for itself.
I used to have a drum. Here we go. Oh wait, no, that's not the right one. I used to have like a joke.
Yeah, the boom cha.
There you go.
There it is. An Indian businessman is going viral after paying $4,000 to have a face mask made out of the pricey precious metal. Quote, it is a thin mask and has tiny pores that is helping me to breathe. Shankar Karhade, 49 of Pune, told Agence France Presse. Quote, people are asking me for selfies, he said. They are awestruck when they see me wearing the gold mask in markets. Awestruck. Karhade, whose company makes industrial sheds, the Shed King and his gold mask, told the Indian Express that he, quote, didn't do it for publicity, but said the mask probably isn't the best choice to fight the contagion. Well, at least he's under no delusion. Quote, I am not sure if it will be effective to protect me from a coronavirus infection, he admitted to AFP about the mask that weighs 2 ounces. The businessman said he's taking other precautions. It's not just the gold or cloth mask, but social distancing and hand washing that will protect human beings from the coronavirus, he told Indian Express. India has made face masks mandatory in public places in a bid to control the pandemic. As of Monday morning, the country had almost 700,000 confirmed cases, with close to 20,000 deaths, according to Johns Hopkins University data. So there you go. He's making a statement there, Gons.
I was trying to find the Beast Make It Fashion jingle.
Oh,
like
that would have been a great.
I know. I didn't think of it at the time.
Yeah, it's an interesting cultural thing, and any Indian from India will tell you this, that wearing gold and kind of flaunting gold is a much bigger deal over in India. It's much more sort of socially acceptable to wear a lot of gold out and about. A luxury that is pretty much primarily reserved for rappers in the U.S.
Well, I was going to say that he might be featured in some upcoming, gangsta rap videos.
I think we're going to see some more of these gold masks showing up in rap videos for sure.
Yeah. All right. Good job, guy. And it's you'd rather have a $4,000. And by the way, if you people looking at the picture of it here, if you're going to have a $4,000 gold mask, get a better strap for it. Get it, because he's got the normal elastic strap that's just cheap. Come on, man. Go with the gold chain or something. Just get the whole thing together, because it's
$4,000 seems a little cheap for that mask. I guess if it's just 2 ounces.
2 ounces. It's about $1,800 an ounce or something.
Is that $1,800? Yeah, that sounds about right.
We're heading for some all-time highs for gold.
$200 for manufacturing.
Yeah,
sounds good to me.
Yeah, but do something with the strap there. But anyway, the thing is, you'd be better off in the United States by wearing a gold mask, because otherwise, it might get you killed. This is theblaze.com. Security guard charged with murder after shooting customer who entered store without wearing a mask.
Whoa, what?
A California security guard is facing murder charges after authorities say he fatally shot a customer in the back following an argument about the customer entering the store without wearing a state-mandated face mask. Ooh. Now, I didn't realize that there were state-mandated, like specific state-mandated face masks. I thought you could just wear any kind of mask. But anyway.
That might be a little mix-up there, but whatever it is.
The victim, Jerry Lewis. Oh, no, he killed Jerry Lewis.
Whoa, the actual Jerry Lewis?
A famous 90s rapper known as Mad Head had reportedly walked into the store while waiting for a tow truck after getting a flat tire. The Daily Mail reported that security guard Umir Hawkins, 38, was working security at the Green Farm Market in Gardena when Lewis, 50, entered the store and was stopped by Hawkins for not wearing a required face covering. The two men became embroiled in an argument that became physical. Which, by the way, all the video that's going viral right now, with all the people just arguing and like yelling and screaming at each other because people walk in without a mask. It's crazy. Lewis left for a short time and then returned, and another fight broke out between the two. Hawkins' wife, Sabrina Carter, 50, had been waiting for her husband's shift to end and became involved in the altercation. She allegedly pointed a handgun at Lewis and other customers in the store, police say. As Lewis turned to leave again, Hawkins allegedly pulled out a separate firearm and shot Lewis in the back.
Why do they have so many guns?
I don't know. That's a
the wife. I like how the security guard's wife came in and got involved. Yikes!
Oh my gosh! And that's a cheap move, man. When you pull the gun and shoot him when he turns around, that's I don't like that.
That is wild.
According to KCAL TV, Lewis had stopped in the store while waiting on a tow truck after getting a flat tire in his vehicle. The outlet noted that, quote, Lewis was also known by his rapper alias Mad Head. He gained popularity in the 1990s for one of his songs, Pimpin' Ain't Easy, which was featured on the Beavis and Butthead Do America soundtrack, which I think they're bringing back Beavis and Butthead. So
they are
fantastic. Ironically, this story, I would imagine that Mad Head, if he knew about the gold mask, would still be with us today.
Could have all been avoided.
I know. Fox News reported that in addition to Hawkins' murder charge, he and Carter, quote, were each charged with one count of possession of a handgun by a felon stemming from a prior conviction in 2013 for assault by means of force likely to produce great bodily injury. Bail for Hawkins was set at $1 million, and he faces a maximum sentence of 50 years to life if convicted. Carter's bail was set at $35,000. That's it? As she faces up to 3 years. Wife. Oh, the wife. Okay. I was going to say, okay. All right. So he was set at $1 million. She was set at $35K, and she faces up to 3 years incarceration. So,
that's wild, man. This goes beyond the snitching.
Oh,
this is full on mask vigilanteism.
I mean, man, I think this, this whole thing, you get into arguments about wear a mask, don't wear a mask, and the science of it, and we'll tap into some of that in a moment here. But the psychological effect that people are having is way more impactful. Because, the one thing that really bothers me about like, hey, wear a mask, is that, okay, I get it that it's not to prevent yourself from contracting the virus. It's so if you have it, you prevent others from getting it, which is ridiculous because it just assumes that everyone has it,
Yeah.
It's like a guilty before any kind of anything. You're just guilty. Right. You're infected. You're infected.
No, and this is a great thing I want to point out because I kind of noticed. I can't remember if we've talked about this before, but in the messaging when you talk about or when anybody in the I'll just say mainstream position of communication, it's always talked about in spreading the virus. They only talk about people who spread the virus, and they avoid talking about people who catch the virus. And it's very specific because what they're trying to do is not demonize the people who catch the virus. They're trying to demonize people who spread the virus,
right?
Which is this interesting sort of rhetorical device where you turn, and this is where the mask thing comes from, because if you wear a mask, you are not, well, allegedly, you're not spreading the virus, but if you catch the virus, it's kind of like they're trying not to make victims the bad guys.
Right.
But the problem is you can only spread the virus if you've caught the virus.
Right.
So it's this crazy like twist of trying to categorize people and trying to sneak around rhetorically to try to not, victim blame people for catching the virus, but only people who catch the virus can spread the virus. So you're talking about the same people. You're not, in theory, if you knew for a fact somebody didn't have the virus, you wouldn't care if they wore a mask or not, because they're not going to spread they're not going to spread it if they don't have it. But because we can't victim blame people who catch it, we have to demonize the people who, quote unquote, are spreading it. It's this very strange sort of Ouroboros of rhetoric that they're trying to separate this victim slash predator position that people can be in, but you can't be a predator unless you are a victim and have caught it.
Right.
So yeah, it's this really weird way that they're trying to sneak around talking about this. And the answer, and it makes total sense now with the masks, the answer is, we don't want to blame the victim. So you don't want to make somebody who catches the virus a bad guy. So that means everybody has to pretend as if they have the virus and wear a mask.
Yeah, that's what's crazy.
So, yeah, it's this weird construction of control where they don't have to put themselves in the position to, call somebody a bad guy. But instead of picking out the real people who are sick and calling them a bad guy, you just treat everybody as a bad guy.
Yeah.
Which is pretty indicative of everything going on, especially in America right now. And it's kind of related to Black Lives Matter stuff. Now, I don't want to get into this, and I'm not trying to take any stances here, but the idea is all people are racist. That's the idea that we're being told, is everybody is racist, no matter what, no matter who you are, no matter how you think, where you're raised, et cetera, et cetera. Everybody is racist. So therefore, everybody needs to be anti-racist. And it's the same thing with the mask, is we need to treat everybody as if they have the virus. So because we don't want to pick out individual people. Now, the problem with that is, you call everybody racist. That also takes a lot of the pressure off of actual racists.
Exactly.
You think about it, now you have, if you're calling every person racist, and I'm just talking about the systemic racism, the conditioning, the racial conditioning, all that kind of stuff. But then you have KKK members, you could see them, full on KKK member racist people saying like, well, we're all racist. So, it's not that bad. I'm not the bad guy. We're all bad guys.
You're agreeing with the actual true racists.
It's such a weird position to be putting everybody in.
Yeah, for sure. And actually, this goes back to the point you were making about how everybody's infected until proven not infected. And and listen to Dr. Fauci talk about this with Dr. Francis Collins here. I think I found the spot here where he discusses how young people, because that's the focus now. They're trying to get young people to really comply and volunteer themselves for vaccine tests and stuff like that.
Oh, I know.
But here's Fauci, just a quick flashback here to that conversation.
The average age of people getting infected now is a decade and a half younger than what it was a few months ago, particularly when New York and New Orleans and Chicago were getting hit very badly. That's the first thing. The second thing that we're trying to get the messaging across: young people should not feel that they're invulnerable to serious consequences. The more we learn about this disease, Francis, the more we realize that many young people may not necessarily get sick enough to go to the hospital, but they can get very sick, put them out of action for weeks at a time. The other thing is, they should not think that even if they get infected and they have no symptoms at all, that they are in a vacuum. They're not, because by getting infected, they are propagating the outbreak, because inadvertently or innocently, they could infect someone who'd infect someone, and then all of a sudden someone's grandmother, grandfather, or aunt who's getting chemotherapy for breast cancer gets infected. So although you think you're isolated in a vacuum, you're not.
Okay, so yeah, it's just ridiculous. You can get it, and you can infect someone who can infect someone who might have cancer, Basil, and then you're a horrible person.
Right. Well, and that's another powerful thing is like you don't even know who you're gonna kill by not wearing a mask.
That's just,
you might not kill your mom, but you might kill somebody else's aunt, and you don't even know it.
It's unbelievable.
Okay, I guess. I mean, that's just kind of how. What he's just talking about the butterfly effect here. Like what?
What are you getting
Every
into?
little thing I do is gonna kill somebody somewhere.
Well, if you want to really get down to it, the Fauci's probably killed some people without really, if you're going to have that logic.
Yeah, I don't even want to go into that, but certainly has. Yeah, it's crazy.
Let's
real quick before we move on.
Mm-hmm.
I saw this nice little meme going around related to Fauci saying, "Oh, all these young people are suddenly getting sick." It was a little cartoon somebody made, and it's in a doctor's office, and there's the doctor there standing, and then sitting on the doctor bed, in the hospital there is a kid, obviously a young person, and they're in their full black Antifa gear with their fist, the fist up on their sweatshirt and their red bandana and their black hoodie on, just looking like an Antifa member or something, or just protester. I'll just say protester. And the doctor's like, "Oh, this is so weird. You haven't been to a church. You didn't go to any bars. You haven't gone to a baseball game. You didn't go to any Trump rallies. I have no idea how you could have gotten the coronavirus." And obviously it's because he was off at a protest. But we can't say that.
Yep, not allowed.
That's
to
how you
say
get
it.
banned.
That's how you get banned. And part of this whole thing, the perpetuation of the fear tactic here, is about the death count, right? The fatality rate. So
Right.
I wanted to highlight, this isn't a story, but I wanted to highlight some things from the CDC website themselves here.
It will kill.
Actually, that "it will kill" should have been the last one too. But this is, we'll leave the links. All links are available in the description or the big giant paragraph block at canarycrynewstalk.com. Everything is hyperlinked there. But the CDC, the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, they have these technical notes, provisional death counts for coronavirus disease. And I was reading through this, and I was just kind of like, wow, I didn't realize this was, the whole thing was at this level. One section where it says comparing data in this report to other sources, it says provisional death counts in this report will not match counts in other sources, such as media reports or numbers from county health departments. And then later it says COVID-19 deaths may also be classified or defined differently in various reporting and surveillance systems. Death counts in this report include laboratory confirmed COVID-19 deaths and clinically confirmed COVID-19 deaths. This includes deaths where COVID-19 is listed as a presumed or probable cause. Okay, so we're already kind of starting to see all right, so there's a lot of room for interpretation there.
Yeah, no certainty.
Yeah. And then later in a section called Cause of Death Classification and Definition of Deaths, it says mortality statistics are compiled in accordance with World Health Organization regulations specifying that WHO member nations classify and code causes of death with the current revision of the International Statistical Classification of Disease and Related Health Problems, ICD. ICD provides the basic guidance used in virtually all countries to code and classify causes of death, which means that the WHO are basically the arbiters of how all the deaths should be reported. It provides not only disease, injury, and poisoning categories, but also the rules used to select the single underlying cause of death for tabulation from the several diagnoses that may be reported on a single death certificate, as well as definitions, tabulation lists, the format of the death certificate, and regulations on use of the classification. I was just kind of I was like, wow, they're like literally the World Health Organization is like the one arbiter of like, this is how you must report the deaths. Mm-hmm. And again, room for human error to misinterpret or, not report it the wrong way. And then it says here, coronavirus disease deaths are identified using the ICD-10 code U07.1. Deaths are coded to U07.1 when coronavirus disease 2019 or COVID-19 are reported as a cause that contributed to death on the death certificate. These can include laboratory-confirmed cases, as well as cases without laboratory confirmation. So it's like, all right, okay, so lab confirmed, all right, maybe they had COVID, but without lab confirmation as well, all right. If the certifier suspects COVID-19 or determines it was likely, example, the circumstances were compelling within a reasonable degree of certainty, they can report COVID-19 as probable or presumed on the death certificate. COVID-19 is listed as the underlying cause of death certificate in 94% of deaths. So I was just appalled that they would put this in there. And no one's going to go here and read it and really try to like dig it out and understand it all. But it's right there on the CDC website. Like, I don't know. Am I off base here or overreacting here? Or are they just literally laying out how it's like, yeah, here are the rules. I mean, it can be lab confirmed. It can't be lab confirmed. But as long as there's a reasonable amount of certainty, you can report it as a COVID death.
And what's a reasonable amount of certainty?
That's what I'm saying.
You have a cough, you have a sneeze, maybe you even have a fever. That could be any number of, different diseases, and that's just the problem. That's the problem we've been dealing with. And this is what I love about the CDC is again, this is not conspiracy theory.
No,
We're reading it straight from the CDC. You go anywhere across the internet and, people are getting their videos taken down. They're getting their blogs taken down. Anybody who says, well, there's lots of numbers that aren't necessarily, lab confirmed COVID tests that are getting called confirmed COVID tests. And they get taken down. They get called a conspiracy theorist. And it says right here on the CDC, you don't need a positive COVID test to call it a COVID case, So, I think that's good. Pull it right from the CDC. I mean, the CDC website was the one saying we didn't need to wear masks for so long.
Right.
They've since adjusted the copy,
the language,
on that. But it still isn't what you're hearing. You're hearing if you don't wear Fauci says you don't wear a mask, you're killing somebody's aunt. But the CDC does not say that at all.
No, and it says in the estimated completeness of data, just one sentence here. It is important to note that the true levels of completeness are unknown, and the estimates provided here are only a proxy. So even the estimated numbers provided by the CDC, which has been considerably lower than what you see on like news headlines and stuff. Yeah, I mean it's still pretty high, but it's still much lower than because what I'm looking at here, this is July 10th. The all deaths involving COVID-19 is 119,000, and you go around social media, you look at headlines, 130,000. 135,000. We're going to hit 150,000. It's all, headlines are exaggerated numbers or whatever, but it's like the actual CDC numbers are much lower, and they say that it's not complete. Lower. Yeah, and they say it's not complete data. So, I mean, I don't know. I just don't understand how people can just buy headlines, and especially when it comes to this kind of stuff, because you can dig for yourself. I guess that's the point. People aren't going to actually go to the website and look at it and read these giant paragraphs with complicated words and sentences and try to make sense of what's going on. That's why you listen to the show, right? Watch the show.
Yeah. Interesting note to make as far as information we're being given by the mainstream versus what is directly being put out by, these holy institutions like the CDC or the HWO. Have you noticed? I didn't put together a whole thing. We might need to put together a whole thing for next week or something, but there's the big hullabaloo about Trump officially pulling out of the HWO.
Right. Yeah, I was going to mention that.
Yeah. So America has officially pulled out of the WHO, and that means, no more funding from the United States and stuff like that. And is this big old hullabaloo. Everybody's freaking out. And then suddenly, it was like a day or two later, the WHO is coming out with all these stories mitigating the mainstream media madness about it. Talking about like, oh, we actually aren't 100% sure if it's very communicable through. First it was surfaces. They're like, well, actually we don't think you can really catch it through surfaces. Oh, okay, that's kind of weird. That goes against everything we've been told. And then a couple days later, well, yeah, we kind of just confirmed just now that it can spread through aerosol. So we think it's possible, but not very likely that it can spread through aerosol. We're like, what? Then what is the reason for all these masks? If we haven't confirmed the aerosol transmissibility from the WHO, this is the organization that people want to blow up the whole world because the United States is pulling out. And suddenly they're coming out and backpedaling. Talk about backpedaling. The mainstream loves to report on people backpedaling. They're not reporting on the WHO backpedaling. And now all these, for me personally, okay, my personal experience, a bunch of, liberal-minded people who do what they're told and believe, what a good liberal should believe, are now turning on the WHO. They're like, oh, the WHO, they're corrupt now because they're backpedaling on all these COVID facts. I'm like, they are the ones that you have been using as the bastion of truth. And now they start backpedaling and suddenly what? Now they're corrupt or something because we're not part of them. They feel like they can. It's just nothing makes sense.
No, it doesn't.
It just drives me mad.
Yeah. And I actually this Threader.app was shared with me on social media, and this was somebody who is pro-mask and was sharing it to anybody who questioned the science of masks. And so there's a list of 70 scientific articles that support the idea of wearing masks preventing spread, but also some of these articles claim prevention of contracting certain viruses. It's not all COVID because it starts off a lot with COVID, but it goes back years. So, it's more so in general masks, in the efficacy of masks and stuff. But I went through like the first 6 articles, and I'm not a science kind of guy, but I'm not an idiot either in terms of like, I can read this stuff and understand what they're saying to a certain level. Unless they get super technical, then I tend to lose it a little bit. But a lot of these articles are not like incredibly technical. First off, all the data that they're using is from the World Health Organization. So there's that aspect of it, and the CDC. So you already have kind of a lack of confidence when it comes to true data. But then every article that I went through, I didn't go through all 70, but every article talks about or mentions the idea of limited data, or they mention the variables that they are either uncertain of or could, radically change the outcome of the results or conclusions they have, or they just completely omit any kind of like potential variable that can mess up the conclusion. It was very cleverly written. A lot of these science papers are cleverly done in that way. But there's a couple of them that like had visual representation. Oh, when you sneeze, look at how much your spit travels. If you wear a mask, the spit doesn't travel as far. Well, it's like, no kidding. It's like duh,
Right.
And therefore you have to wear a mask to prevent spread of the virus. And it's like, well, yeah, but then the other point being every single article assumed, like we mentioned earlier, that everybody is infected. There was nothing that really, I think, tried to look at the data and try to dive into, okay, people that are infected, or how about people that aren't infected? I don't think it's as easy to find all that information, and certainly not from just like a small study that's been done in the last couple months. People scrambling in the medical field to come up with, to make the money. Really,
it's really funny you bring this up. I just sent you something on the Skype.
On the Skype.
The Skype. If you're able to put that up on the screen. But I think it'll speak to just exactly what you're talking about.
I can kind of do it through your thing here.
And for those who are listening and can't see, I will just explain it to you. It's that meme with that goes between the Rock in the front seat of a car and the little girl in the back seat.
Yeah.
And the Rock says, "I don't have the coronavirus because I have no symptoms." And the little girl says, "Having no symptoms is one of the symptoms." You must have it.
That's pretty good.
We're having fun.
Yeah.
Okay. Where are we on these links here? What's the next one?
All right. Okay. I got a video clip because according to this guy in Texas, obviously, if you're gonna go outside, you got to wear a mask, right? If you're gonna go into and I've been compliant with certain businesses. You want to walk into a business or a store or something, you're saying wear a mask. I'm gonna be like, all right, fine, I'll wear a mask because I don't want to cause any trouble. But in my mind, the whole time I'm thinking this is ridiculous. But this guy is saying you got to wear a mask indoors now.
We still need people to wear the mask in public. We still need people to keep social distance and isolation. But Ryan, the one thing I want to try to get across today is we need to do that when we're in our homes also. As you know, I'm a lifelong San Antonian, grew up there, worked there for many years, and I know how many multi-generational families that we have. And while we believe the community is doing a great job of following the rules when they're outside of the home, we really need to be thinking about doing the same thing when we're inside the home. I mean, all of us are capable of catching this disease. None of us are immune from this. And the fact that we need to get across is, in order to protect ourselves, we need to protect our families and our loved ones. We really need to be thinking about the care that we're providing inside the home right now to make sure that we're not spreading this disease inside the home and then making it come outside.
Okay, and then this is the Fox News at 9 studio, the home base guy. Listen to his question, because this is like the ridiculousness of mainstream news. Before I do, though, Basil, what's the message of this guy from Austin? What is he trying to say here?
Wear a mask inside at all times forever.
Okay, good. You got it. I think most of the audience gets it too, but let's see what he says here.
The house.
So let me get this straight. What you're effectively saying is that people should be wearing masks inside their own homes now?
Ryan, I'm saying if you can't socially distance and can't socially isolate, or if you've been out in public and exposing yourself and you haven't decontaminated yourself good enough when you get home, if you have someone that has underlying medical conditions at home, we really need to be thinking about that. Now, if you're the same 2 or 3 people that are living in the same house and you're really taking care of yourself and you're following all the rules, then you probably don't need to wear a mask in your home. But if you've gone out for Memorial Day or 4th of July, or you've gone out to parties, or you've gone out to graduation parties, when you've gone out and you've come back in, you can be bringing that back inside. And I think it's no secret, we all like to relax when we're at home. But if we're not paying attention to how the virus spreads outside or inside the home, we're going to keep spreading this virus.
There you go. Mask in the home now.
Mask forever.
Just out of control, man.
Yeah.
You gotta be joking. And I'll just, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to mention, because you mentioned how you're wearing a mask, so you're a slave and a shell and a sheeple. And
I know. I was gonna put slave on my mask when I walk around.
Oh no, you can't do that. Well, I guess maybe you, as a person of color, you might be able to do that.
I'm a POC.
I too, just to be clear, because people are wondering. I also wear a mask. Again, because my whole thing, I like to slip under the radar. I'm not trying to pull anybody's attention. I don't need.
You really wear a mask, really, Basil? Mr. Googly Eyes there? No kidding.
Well, that's the point. It's like my dream come true. I can wear a mask wherever I want now. Nobody has to know who I am. Nobody has to see me. I'm just another faceless mask wearer fading into the night. So it's kind of fun that way.
Yeah.
But yeah, also I just don't want to get beaten up or shot. For not wearing a
That's
mask.
what I'm saying. I don't need to get shot for not wearing a mask and walking into a store and having their wife point a gun at me. The whole deal. It's going to be an issue.
Yeah, actually, I do want to mention also, and this is kind of on the relation of mask, and maybe, I don't know, we might be able to do something fun on the show. But actually, one of our dames, one of the members of the Canary Cry Roundtable of Knights and Dames sent me, it was Dame Island Girls, sent me an oximeter. A pulse oximeter. These little guys, you can buy them. I don't know where you can buy them, but you can buy them. They're what measures the oxygen level in your blood. And there's all these guns. I know you're not a man of science like me,
No,
but I like to run my own little experiments. When the flat Earth stuff was coming out, I got my laser thermometer and measured how moonlight is colder than moonshade, and et cetera, et cetera. The Dame Island Girl gave me this oximeter. And I was wearing my mask, trying to see if it lowered my oxygen level. And I got to say, I must be some sort of superhero because I will say my normal regular is just like those regular surgical masks, nothing fancy. It did not noticeably lower my oxygen level. So
good for you.
There you go.
All right.
I know there's a lot of talk about that, and then about how lowers your oxygen level, gives you carbon dioxide poisoning. I did not measure my carbon dioxide, but as far as the mask that I have and the oximeter that I received, it does not show any decrease in oxygen in my blood when I wear the mask. So don't worry, folks. I personally, I'm not saying it's not going to work for you. You might have a different biology than me, but don't worry about me. I'll be okay.
Yeah, I saw some ads for some clear masks that might become a thing.
That's creepy. What are they made of?
Plastic.
How do you breathe?
I don't know.
Little holes. You got to poke your own little air holes.
Yeah, air holes that
it's
completely defeat the
cellophane.
purpose.
Comes with a little needle that you can poke your own air holes.
Yeah, let's do this real quick and then we'll take a quick break here. But
okay.
The New England Journal of Medicine. Again, all the links will be in the canarycrynewstalk.com. The New England Journal of Medicine, Universal Masking in Hospitals in the COVID-19 Era. And this was published on May 21st. And it has 24 cited articles, and a couple things jumped out at me. There was a part earlier that I thought I had it highlighted, but I guess I don't. Where does it say here? Well, it goes into the health workers and the risks there. And obviously the health workers are a little bit of a different situation than your normal people that are out and about. It says here, we know that wearing a mask outside healthcare facilities offers little, if any, protection from infection. Again, this is, talking about contracting the infection. And then later at the bottom here, it says, it is also clear that masks serve symbolic roles.
Yeah.
Masks are not only tools, they are also talisman that may help increase healthcare workers' perceived sense of safety, well-being, and trust in their hospitals. And then later down it says, expanded masking protocols' greatest contribution may be to reduce the transmission of anxiety over and above whatever role they may play in reducing transmission of COVID-19. This is the New England Journal of Medicine saying that the masks are going to help with anxiety about the virus more than actually preventing you from getting the virus.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And I think it's great that that a scientific publication is telling the truth.
Yeah.
Because we do know this. I mean, every scientific outlet, not a mainstream news outlet, not, something like that, but scientific outlets are saying, no, the mask is not really going to protect you from a virus. If the virus comes near you, you're going to get it. But it's the symbol, and Daddy Fauci said it. It's the symbol of togetherness. Right. I protect you, you protect me. We're all in this together. It's the symbol, the talisman of trust and safety that is the mask. And there you go. I mean, it's nice to just see them outright saying it, and I think that's the truth. And I think there is a way. Now, first of all, if it's not going to protect you from the coronavirus, then it's not going to protect you from the coronavirus. That's just what it is. But, if it's a symbol of, togetherness and stuff like that, it honestly, if they just would have said that in the first place, like without having to lie about the efficacy of masks and having to shame people who don't wear masks, call them murderers, literally shoot them in the back for not wearing a mask. If they would have just come out and been like, hey, everybody, this is not really going to help, but, we're all just trying to get along here. And if you just want to let everybody know that we're all in this together, wear a mask. I think a lot of people would be more willing to wear it, but it's all this mandating of masks, lying that it's actually going to protect you, all this kind of stuff created a lot of resistance that I think they could have gotten out of by just being truthful in the first place.
Yeah, and I didn't want to get into it because we're short on time here because we've been talking about this for a while now, but Gavin Newsom took a page out of the Trump tweet methods, and he tweeted out, wear, period, period, mask, period, all caps. And of course, Gavin Newsom, with his $500 million wired to some random Chinese car manufacturing company that didn't even pass the safety regulations in America, and even Democratic officials saying like, hey, we didn't even see the contract before Newsom sent this money over. Just ridiculous. And it's funny because the top response, at least on my feed here, is, where are our hashtag made in China masks? So I don't even know if they actually made it back, but he made basically $1 billion deal with some random Chinese car manufacturing company,
right,
or electric car manufacturing company, to make masks.
I know.
And I don't know, man.
It's crazy. The virtue signaling is the Chinese company.
Yeah. The Chinese,
don't be
there
racist.
They are again.
Wear a made in China mask.
It's just out of control, man. Anyway, okay. All right, let's take a break.
We gotta
we're
move
done.
on with the show here. We've spent a lot
of
of time on this. We vowed to ourselves. I don't know if we said it on the show, but we vowed to ourselves, no, we're not gonna talk about masks. No, we're gonna cut down on the COVID news. We don't need, everybody's talking about the masks. We don't need to get involved. And here we are 2 hours later.
It's just so infuriating. There's like the information. Like, I'm not spending my entire lifetime or my entire like day and nights, trying to find all this information. I'm spending a few hours here and there, but it's not information that you can't find if you go out and look for it. But, people just, I don't know, people just believe the politicians or believe the Faucis and it's just frustrating.
They don't believe the science, the actual scientists at the CDC, the WHO, and the New England Journal of Medicine. Yeah. Read the actual science. Don't worry about the mask. It's a symbol.
I know.
All right, let's move on. Let's take a little break.
It's break time. Come on, take a break.
Okay, folks, don't go anywhere. We're just going to take a quick little break, but stick around because in a few minutes we're going to be talking about a little bit more insight into the Vatican doctors. We're doing some other fancy stuff while we're talking about the Vatican doctors. We got
scientific breakthroughs.
33 alert coming up, so make sure that you got to get your 33 update. We're going to be talking about let's see, some racist aliens, I think.
Oh yeah.
And then a little bit of the 4 horsemen of the technocalypse. So some really important stuff. Don't go anywhere. But we wanted to take the opportunity to thank some of our new Twitch users, and there's some funny ones, Gons. You're gonna love it. Now,
right,
Twitch viewership Our overall viewership is great today, great numbers, but the Twitch specific viewership is it could be a little higher. It's a little low, but that's okay. Thanks everybody for being there. And if you're not yet following us on Twitch, you really should. It helps Gons and I out quite a bit. So even for our sake, if you could follow us on Twitch, that'd be great. Watch the show on Twitch. Gons will drop that link in the chat there, twitch.tv/Canary Cry Radio. And here are some new Twitch followers. Are you ready? Gons, you got your dinger ready?
Hold on. Got to send the link. But yes,
I'm
ready.
giving you too many things to do at once here.
I need my octopus arms.
Yeah. All right. Let me know when you're ready.
I'm ready.
Here, I'll refresh just to get any new people who popped in. Oh, yeah. Okay, here we go. We're starting out with Chippy McMonk.
Ooh, I like that.
Thank you, Chippy McMonk. Didymus, 1979.
Ooh.
PVT malfunction. Pop Top, 377. And one of my favorites from today, we've got a wonderful celebrity following us. This user is Biden's Nose.
Oh, interesting.
Watch out. Biden's nose. It's coming for you.
It's hairy and it's under a mask.
He'll sniff you. He'll get you. We've got Weibo Kunoichi. Weibo Kunoichi.
Right.
Thank you very much. True Spiritor.
True Spiritor.
Techno Crap 1.
Is it techno crap?
Techno Crap. Like, yeah. One.
That's good. I like
Here, Her Earth. Thank you, Her Earth. Kilfanan. Colony Dude. Rodsworth 77. Manic Annika. Twitch the Canary.
Ooh.
Designated Dan for life. Ben Schwagel. Liquid Solid Plasma. And that's it. That's all for today. Thank you so much for following us on Twitch. It really helps us out, especially when you watch the show on Twitch. That also helps us out. Make sure to follow us at twitch.tv/Canary Cry Radio. Turn on notifications. It's a great way to watch the show. The quality is better. The stream drops less often, and the emojis in the chat are just top notch. Now, Gons, for a few episodes now, I've been talking about wanting to read some reviews.
Yes.
And I just haven't done it. We've kind of speed through a few shows here. But I have here some reviews that I want to read for you, and I want to inspire. I want to inspire other people who listen to the show to leave ratings and reviews on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, stuff like that. I think we had somebody leave a comment in German. On
I saw that. Did you translate that one?
I did not translate it. I don't know what it says, but whatever German listener did that, I appreciate.
I'm going to try to maybe do it real quick.
I'm not even positive if it's German.
It might be.
It's one
I thought
of
it was.
those.
Yeah, I thought it was some other Scandinavian language.
Some Northern European language. So thank you. But here we go. I am going to pull a few. I kind of had to do it at random. There's a lot of good ones, but this one's on the Canary Cry News Talk Apple Podcast page from One Red Eye 420. 1-2 Flippy's coming for you is the subject line. Thought-provoking podcast featuring topics that are entertaining, informative, and steeped in humor. Not sure how one steeps a podcast in humor. Sounds dangerous considering the amount of electrical and personal computing equipment involved. But I'm certain they make a Visine for that. In any event, maybe he meant vaccine. Visine or
I don't
vaccine.
Know. He's talking about what's his handle? Or what's the title? Yeah, so maybe he's talking about.
Yeah, you never know. In any event, adding this show to playlist will not end in regret. Keep up the good work, guys. Thank you very much, One Red Eye. He also they also add a note at the end. Note: no artificially intelligent, lower wage earning robots were harmed or marginalized in the making of this podcast.
It's true. Speaks the truth.
That's true. That's true. Thank you so much for that one Red Eye. We also have Tay6782 says, love you guys. The best news commentary out there. Ooh, I like that. They make it fun. They're fair. They're Christian. Keep up the good work. Then a bunch of emojis. I'll add woke too. Thank you. Although that word is kind of cheesy to me. You get my point, though. Thank you very much, Tay6782. We're woke, Gons.
Awesome.
We're fun, fair, Christian, and woke.
I like being woke.
We've got another one here from Lizard, the only Liz. Fringe topics without the tinfoil hat. That's the nicest thing anybody's ever said to me. Alternative Christian community. Relevant topics for this strange time we are in. And this is great. Take note for all you Face Like the Sun YouTube viewers. For all the Face Like the Sun people, eventually you'll get used to Basil. So there is hope. There's
hope for you, my friend.
YouTube people. Do you want to read the CCR reviews there?
We can. I've actually.
I'll do it. I got them right here. I'll just go
You got
fast.
them. I was going to read the. It was Norwegian. Norwegian
great.
Bokma.
Although what did they say?
They said fantastic. I don't think there's a word translated. Helt carried. I don't know what that means. Fun and instructive as usual. So I don't know what helt carried means, but
I don't know either. But thank you, Norwegian listener, who
awesome.
did that. A couple more here. This is on the Canary Cry Radio, not the news talk, but the Canary Cry Radio Apple podcast reviews here. Favorite podcasters, great podcast. My go-to for Christian fringe type stuff. Thank you very much. Cool. iFaith1215 says the best podcast, period.
Ooh.
Boom. Yeah. And then Jerry says, intelligent, informative, and fun guys. I really appreciate their research, and they're really inspiring. I appreciate their wit, humor, and most of all, their Christian spiritual insight into timely matters. And that was Jerry or Thai Girl for God Radio. So thank you guys very much for those ratings and reviews. And please, if you are here now, remember, we put out the podcast version of this show every show 3 times a week. So make sure to follow us on whatever podcast app that you use. Subscribe. It'll automatically get delivered to your phone. So if you miss a live one and you're just out on the town and want to listen, you'll have that there, and leave a rating and a review. It's very helpful for the show, and I might read it on the show, and that's fun.
Cool. Sounds good.
Okay. Ready to wake up, Gons?
Wake up. I'm ready to wake up.
Yes, it's wake up time.
Hey, yo, wake up.
And we are getting into... Oh, shoot. Did I not... Oh, my gosh. I don't think I set up that jingle. I thought I was ready with all my jingles. I'll find it.
You want me to stall?
Stall for like 10 seconds.
Okay, so we talked about the Vatican collection of doctors before. What's his name? Francis Collins, Illuminati-connected Francis Collins, talking about the Vatican there. But the Vatican has not stopped there. Their doctors are busy at work, doing all sorts of fancy stuff. And we're going to bring you an article here from FoxNews.com. So,
Illuminatus!
Boom.
Got it.
Stalled.
All right. Do you want to do this, or you want me to do it?
You do this one.
Okay. FoxNews.com. Conjoined twins with fused skulls successfully separated at Vatican hospital, doctors say. And it says here, twin girls with fused skulls were successfully separated. Doctors at the Vatican's pediatric hospital announced on Tuesday. The twins, Irvina and Perfina Bangalo, were born in 2018 in Magaiki, Central African Republic, with their skulls attached, sharing critical blood vessels near their brain. The Bambino Gesù Pediatric Hospital, which is Vatican-owned but operates within the Italian public health system, brought the twins and their mother to Italy soon after their birth. At the press conference, Dr. Carlo Maras, chief of pediatric neurosurgery at Bambino Gesù, said, "The girls are recovering well, and they are expected to lead normal lives after a rehabilitation phase."
Wow.
The girls' skulls were joined back to back in what the medical community calls, quote, total posterior craniopagus. Detroit area neurosurgeon and president Yoganathan Neurosurgery. That's not his name, is it?
Johannathan
Neurosurgery is his name?
I don't know. Oh, I see it. No, they messed up. They doubled up on it. Yeah, it's weird. Just push through, man.
typo.
Detroit area neurosurgeon and president of Johannathan Neurosurgery. Okay, that makes more sense. Dr. J. Johannathan, oh my gosh, who was not involved in the surgery, told Fox News of the challenges involved in such a technical procedure. Quote, pediatric brain surgery is especially challenging because the skull tends to be extremely vascular, meaning it has a lot of blood supply, Johannathan said. A lot of times, in the cases where children are connected in the head, veins and blood vessels are often connected as well. In addition to that, circulating blood volume in a child is significantly less than an adult. As a result, there's much less room for error in terms of blood loss, he said. Johannathan said the surgery requires a multidisciplinary approach alongside the neurosurgeon. Plastic surgeons assist in wound closure, and aestheticians manage patient stability and blood loss, among other healthcare professionals involved. As for the success rate of these surgeries, there is a high degree of variability depending on the location of the conjoinment. But there you go, the Vatican-owned hospital with the breakthrough of separating conjoined twins who were fused at the skull.
That's pretty cool.
So that's pretty good stuff, but...
I know where you're going. I don't think we should go there.
Where was I going? Where did you think I was
don't know.
going?
I saw some people in the chat throwing around the word Nephilim, but I don't know if I want to do that with these cute little babies.
Nephilim. I'll just do that.
No.
We're not going to do the full thing, you know?
Yeah, that's great. Well, I'm glad it went well. It seemed like that was a big deal that they were able to do that.
It seems like a pretty big breakthrough, and yeah, that's good for these girls, and I hope they live a long, healthy life.
Yeah, well, see, Gons, that China pays the Vatican $2 billion a year to not say anything bad about China, and then the Vatican turns around and fixes these babies with the $2 billion. So China fixed these babies.
Yeah, until
So thanks, communism.
All right, that's going to be the intro to the episode.
Hook.
You saying thanks, communism.
Thanks, communism. Yeah, turn that one around on you. Got you.
Well, I was going to say.
Let's move on.
I was going to say that they're probably going to try to figure out the genetics to reverse it. For the Chinese for their.
So we can come.
Yeah, so they can create their own. Like Gemini twin. Nephilim,
oh yeah,
Nephilim babies.
super soldiers.
Yeah, super soldiers.
Double combined super soldiers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Something like that.
That's fun.
Okay.
All right.
Illuminatus!
Sometimes we do some deep analysis. Sometimes we'll connect the dots that nobody else has, and then sometimes we'll.
You just can't tell if we're being sarcastic
just do what
or
we
not.
just did.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to bring you this one from bu.edu. And this is an interesting one, documenting how pandemic lockdown changed eternal cities' religions. Whoa. The Vatican and Rome have become vernacular synonyms, entwined as they are by history and geography. Yet, the Eternal City has been home to many other religious groups besides Roman Catholicism for millennia. Scholar, filmmaker Jen Lindsay has documented how religious Romans of various stripes have sought God this year as COVID-19 stripped communal worship during some traditions' most sacred observances. Wow, this is getting pretty heavy. Am I just going to run into the thing I need to run into?
Yes, it's the next next sentence.
Quarantined faith. Ooh, quarantined faith. Rome, religion, and coronavirus is Lindsay's 33-minute survey of Easter, Passover, and Ramadan 2020, along with views of non-Abrahamic traditions like Buddhism as they unfolded during lockdown in Italy, one of the nations slammed hardest by the pandemic. So boom, there you go. There's your 33 alert, everybody. For those who don't know, 33 is a number used to signal by the elites. What are they signaling? We don't quite know, but it's always popping up, and it seems to have some sort of connection in the way that the world moves thereafter. And like we saw at the very beginning, there's 33 thrown in there for some stories about police. And of course, we see some big changes in policing in America. And here we go. go. This is a 33 Vatican-based 33-minute survey. Well, it's a documentary. Basically surrounding the conglomeration of religions that happens in the Eternal City in the Vatican.
Yep.
So very interesting there. Some signaling towards a one world religion, of course, centered in the Vatican, should not be a surprise to anybody listening to this show, or if it is a surprise, we've got a whole body of work for you to explore and learn why this is such a big deal. Just check out Canary Cry Radio or any of the Canary Cry News Talk collections.
Yeah, and 33 also 33 degree parallel, having all kinds of ancient structures on that line across the world. So something
including the Vatican, I believe.
I think so. Yeah, I think
Isn't the Vatican on the 33rd?
I have to double check that, but I think so. Yeah, but like there are other crazy places like Roswell and where else? People in the chat probably know of places. You'll probably see it right through the chat here.
That's what I love about this. If we kind of bring something up and don't want to necessarily have the time or the energy to go deep into it on one particular show, if you watch the chat, all the research gets laid out there, and people can look at the chat and search everything out.
Right.
So I don't know. Do you want to hear more about this? Or
well, there was just one little highlight that I made at the very bottom. It kind of goes into an interview with the producer of the film, and the question was asked: do you think the predictions of religious reform some of your interviewees make will follow the lifting of lockdowns, or will we return to life as usual? And she answered, Italy's collapse into quarantine necessitated the fast development of infrastructures and networks to connect people throughout the crisis. I think many of those are here to stay. Zoom worship, Zoom community events and sacred text study, social network channels and that connect people within and beyond their own congregations. Is that a phrase that you've heard? Zoom worship?
It's not a phrase I've heard, but is that just a worship on Zoom?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen it happen. But
I know.
Zoom
I know people
makes
have seen
it like you're worshiping Zoom.
that's kind of what I was saying. Which is
Zoom.
All hail Zoom.
Thank you for connecting us humans. It's the empathy box from Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep? You just log on to Zoom and feel one with humanity.
The empathy box. Yeah. All right. Yeah, that's
Mercerism.
Pretty much it.
It's called Mercerism.
Mercerism. Oh, sorry.
I know we forgot the name of that like 10 episodes ago, and it just occurred to me it was called Mercerism.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Let's move
tell me
on
about some
here.
racist aliens.
Aliens.
This was I just loved reading this story because it's CNN travel, which is always going to be great, and UNESCO. It's titled, "Have you visited these UNESCO sites? Some say aliens have." And it actually, what you'll see here is they actually slam the ancient astronauts after a while here. And UNESCO being tied to the United Nations, which is part of the World Health Organization and the whole deal. And if you remember, the UNESCO had a commercial, I think it was UNESCO, where there was a commercial a few years ago where there's like kids in school and there's like a literal alien kid, who's like ousted.
I remember this.
You don't remember this? Okay, I'm gonna have to pull it up.
There's an alien kid.
Yeah, there's an alien kid who's like not being, he's being teased and like, people are making fun of him, and then he performs these miracles, and then all the people or all the kids like accept him into the. You've never seen this commercial?
I don't think so. Pull it up. Why don't you pull that up? We had some people asking what UNESCO is, so I will tell them what UNESCO is.
Oh, crazy. My video on this from September 7th, 2015, titled Superhenge UNESCO Climate Change, Pope Francis and the Alien Connection, is the first thing that popped up. So, boom.
Oh, my gosh.
I'm doing it.
So UNESCO is the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization.
Right. Maybe it was UNICEF. It might have been UNICEF and not UNESCO. Which is, they're all part of the UN, so it doesn't really matter. But
Okay.
Do you want me to play this video, the commercial for you, or do you want to?
Do you have it? Well, let me finish this definition and then
Okay.
we'll go into it. It's the special agency of the United Nations aimed at contributing to the building of peace, the eradication of poverty, sustainable development, and intercultural dialogue through education, the sciences, culture, communication, and information. It is the successor of the League of Nations, International Committee on Intellectual Cooperation. So very NWO. One world type of group, but they're mainly focused on educational experiences.
Right. Okay. So I think this might be somebody else's video, talking about it or whatever. Yeah. Did I lose you?
No, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Okay. So here's, I don't know if someone's talking over this. We'll see here. So it's just a bunch of kids in the classroom. And the alien boy, so everyone's going, "Oh, who's that alien boy? Creepy!" And he's walking around. People are teasing him. They're throwing stuff at him.
He is pretty creepy.
He definitely is very creepy. People spitting on him. Not cool. He's in the library all by himself, reading books. Oh, people scaring him. They're just not very nice to him.
Oh, poor alien boy.
Poor alien. He drops a pencil. He picks it up with his gooey. He's got like alien goo everywhere. And then he gives an apple, this blue apple, to this other student there.
Oh, he has alien apple. Hmm.
Yes, and now he's. I think he's going to start. He makes this girl float with his magical alien powers, and now everyone's going, "Whoa, cool alien
we like
kid!"
Him now,
and we're all friends now.
He can perform miracles.
Yeah, so that's. I guess it was UNICEF, but yeah, UN related. I mean, you don't remember that commercial? It was just insane.
No, I didn't see it. I do want to bring up one weird thing, not to derail you, but I'm looking in the Twitch chat and we got an auto moderator thing, which we do occasionally. People trying to use bad words and stuff, so it sends us a little message like, "Do you want to allow this?" And we usually just miss it because we don't pay that much attention.
Yeah,
but it flagged the word ecumenism, which is a concept and principle by Christians of different church traditions and denominations to develop closer relationships and better unity between other traditions and denominations of Christianity. It's sort of the outreach. You can almost call it outreach.
Wow.
And it got flagged for sexual content.
Oh my God. Come on, Twitch.
Yeah.
Yo, Twitch.
Ecumenicalism or whatever got flagged for sexual content. Very strange.
Wow. All right. Well, maybe they need to fix their algos because they don't know what they're doing. I can picture somebody, in the back doing all the algo stuff, trying to connect all that and then failing.
Yeah.
Saying, that sounds like a sexual word.
I don't know what that is. Sounds like a sex act.
All right, so this article here says Eric von Daniken dried his sweaty palms with granite dust as he scaled the Great Pyramid of Giza, crawling block by block up the nearly 4,000-year-old monument. It was 1954 when you can still climb the pyramids. Von Daniken, a 19-year-old with a Catholic education and a passion for flying saucers, was captivated. 14 years later, he published an influential book called Chariots of the Gods, arguing that extraterrestrials influenced ancient sites. The pyramids included the magnificent Giza pyramids are among the world's most famous ancient places, part of the sprawling UNESCO World Heritage Site that brings travelers to Egypt from across the globe. And my mouse here had just died, so that's not good. Uh-oh. There we go. We got a little movement here. The magnificent pyramids are among those... visitors come to explore hidden burial chambers, go eye to eye with the mysterious Sphinx, and take in the sheer scale of Egypt's grandest monuments. Von Daniken proposed that aliens offer technological help in building them. And it goes a little bit more into Von Daniken's history here, which we don't have to get into, especially since Dr. Heiser challenged him to a duo before he passed away. Yeah, he didn't respond. But he did sell 63 million copies of his book, so Heiser's probably just trying to catch up.
It's too bad. I'm looking at the article you have here, and they missed a chance. It said he went on to write 32 additional volumes.
Well,
32 additional volumes. That's 33,
that's
baby.
33. There you go.
What are the chances? We didn't even plan that 33 ding.
No.
And it's just there, connected UNESCO and League of Nations.
And then they get into another UNESCO site, Teotihuacan, where the Aztec kings once ruled near modern-day Mexico City. Could have been a spaceport, pointing to
and
Micah.
This is on CNN
It's
Travel.
on CNN, yeah. Well, you know that Ancient Aliens Debunked by Chris White debunked all of this stuff,
Yeah,
So there's that. But I want to get to the to the part that I really loved here. Peruvian scientists agree that the Nazca lines are mysterious, but believe they are linked instead to rituals in water instead of some kind of like alien thing. Teaching the alternative to ancient astronauts. Archaeologist Sarah Parsak teaches a seminar on debunking archaeological myths and hoaxes at the University of Alabama at Birmingham. In the class, she pushes back on theories about ancient aliens like those proposed by von Däniken. She sees it as important work. I'm reading this, I'm going, okay, all right. Maybe she's seen Chris White's thing, and the whole deal.
Yeah.
Quote, the belief that aliens built the pyramids, or in fact any ancient monument, is deeply racist.
Oh, no.
Parsak says, it's no coincidence that alien theories focus on places home to black, brown, and indigenous people, she notes.
Gosh.
So yeah, that's her whole thing here.
Well, that's a good point, actually. I gotta say, I can't think of any. I can't think of any
Stonehenge.
Alien. Oh, yep, Stonehenge.
Yeah,
Okay, there
debunked. You go. Parsak.
That's racist against
debunked.
Druids, though. I do gotta say, just a shout out real quick. I haven't not seen this user in chat before, so I don't know if they're new or not. But lucky number 33 now follows us on Twitch, and they just
oops, that's not the right.
They just put in ding whenever that pops up. They ding themselves.
I was gonna try to. Okay, yeah, all right, that works. I was gonna do the other ding, but this works.
This is an interesting connection because maybe a month ago now, actually, I don't know, we do 3 shows a week. This could have been last week. They were talking about how the pyramids are racist. A UK Black Lives Matter group was saying the pyramids are racist and we need to tear them down. Well, now it's the pyramids, they're screwed, man. They're going to get taken down no matter what, because it's racist if slaves build them. It's racist if aliens built them. It's racist. The pyramids are just racist, man.
I did see a post somewhere and I didn't really look into it, but you know how the Albert Pike statue went down?
Uh-huh.
And I think some pastor somewhere said that's God judging the Freemasons in America. And I thought,
great.
Maybe, but man, that's a really small, that's not that intense of a judgment.
Not very much wrath.
No, especially since they're taking down everything else along with it. It's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe that's like the silver lining, I suppose. But anyway, yeah, I just thought it was interesting that the rebuttal to the ancient alien theory, the ancient astronaut theory, is not so much that, hey, there's some more plausible explanations for some of this, that, some of these ancient monuments. No, it's just racist. So there you go.
Oh goodness!
That's
All
about
right,
it. Let me see an article.
I lost the document. There it is. All right. Well, let's talk about. Whoa! I got lost. Nope. Okay. Let's talk about the 4 horsemen of the Technocalypse.
The 4 horsemen of the Technocalypse. Anytime you see the 4 horsemen, it's something special.
All right, this is an interesting sort of opinion piece, and I want to hear what you have to say about it. I'm over here on arcdigital.media, which is a medium, I don't know, looks like a sub URL or sub outlet or something. But it's titled "Facebook is Fireproof from Boycotts. That's a good thing." Mark Zuckerberg isn't too worried about 25 of Facebook's biggest spenders pausing their advertising. Nor should he be. He's had the major consumer brands by the throat for a while, and they all know it. Which means that as this advertiser boycott of Facebook gains momentum, those interested in waging culture wars via giant corporate proxies will be disappointed. As of writing, a quarter of Facebook's top 100 advertisers have halted spending. The boycott, organized by hashtag Stop Hate for Profit, demands that Facebook censor alleged white. Oh my gosh, the brainwashing is strong. Oh,
your racism is bleeding through.
I've been completely conditioned. The real sentence is Facebook. They demand that Facebook censor alleged hate speech, and my brain just put white in there. Oh gosh. That's bad. Demands that Facebook censor alleged hate speech and misinformation. CNN and a data firm estimated the impact of a best-case scenario of the boycott. Best-case scenario, quote, even if all 100 of Facebook's biggest advertisers joined in, they would account for just 6% of the company's annual revenue. Pause to take that figure in. Those 100 advertisers represent the most well-known brand names in the world. They are some of the largest corporations on the planet, owned by some of the wealthiest people alive. If another platform had a quarter of those big players pause their media spending, they would be in panic mode. If a small publisher had a single one of those advertisers withdraw permanently, they would have to close entirely. The biggest success story from Facebook's business model is the diversification and democratization of its advertisers. The company made an enormous digital hangout for billions of people to use by crafting little networks for themselves, then offered to let them reach people outside those immediate circles for a modest fee and a few stipulations. The drawbacks of easy advertising access on Facebook have been explored ad nauseum. I heavily criticized their newsfeed product in the past, pointing out that people actually want to hear from the publishers they follow on the platform. But to summarize the point of view of major advertisers in the words of Wes Finley, who ran digital operations at Coca-Cola, quote, a Facebook page with no fans can drive greater visibility with $500 than an organic page with 90 million fans.
Jeez.
Holy smokes. We need to spend $500 and advertise our group. Wow, a Facebook page with no fans can drive greater visibility with $500 than an organic page with 90 million fans. Wow. This is an exaggeration of the unfairness of Facebook's model from a business who is accustomed to using their cultural cachet to reach customers. They would love to be present on the largest, most used platform in human history without constantly having to pay through the nose for it. You know, this makes total sense, Gons, because we have over 10,000 likes on our Canary Cry Radio Facebook page.
Right.
And like, there's almost no engagement on a lot of stuff that we post.
I know.
I mean, there's like a core group. There's like the Canary Cry Commandos who like really engage with the stuff that we do on Facebook. But for having 10,000 followers on that page, you know, we might get like 60 likes on something, which is crazy. Like, it's just, or when we post a video, it'll reach like 200 people out of our 10,000.
Yeah.
That's how they get us. That's how they get our money, man.
I was going to say a shout out to the 5 people watching on Facebook Canary Cry Radio right now.
Yeah, I know. Allegedly, if we send this feed out to the 10,500 people who follow the page, and then another 3,000 on the community. So, there's close to 15,000 people that the video should be going out to, and like 3 people will watch it on Facebook. It's crazy. Yeah. Anyways, moving on. But Facebook hasn't kowtowed to big spenders for years now. They've throttled the organic reach of pages time and again, forcing advertisers looking for guaranteed reach to cough up more money if they are to maintain an acceptable return on their investment in content creation. Reach at a viral level for organic content is still possible, but harder to unlock in Facebook's almighty algorithms. The smart brands have become more deliberate with what they post. The content needs to be more creative, informative and timely, so the precious few followers who see it will engage with it, thus broadening the reach to a lumbering corporation managed by culturally illiterate to a lumbering corporation managed by culturally illiterate executives. This silliness is seen as an expensive excess. Quote, we need to make memes and we need to pay someone. Yes, you do. Unfortunately, not everyone can be clever and creative for free. Because of their hesitancy to adapt to the culture, corporations have been focusing their efforts on larger, more expensive advertising campaigns where there are clear performance indicators set that run for a time and end with the budget when the budget is spent. They show up on the platform for a while, receive some clicks to their landing pages, and are soon forgotten. Meanwhile, smaller, nimbler businesses and creators have cracked the code. Keep yourself lean, build an audience that loves your content and wants to be part of your circles, and pay your monthly dues to the ferryman, Facebook. These businesses and individuals outnumber the corporate behemoths 100,000 to 1. Wow, we need to pay our dues to the ferryman, apparently, Gons.
The Facebook ferryman.
Yeah, I mean, we got a nice big audience, and I think we put out pretty good content, but the only thing that explains our small reach is we haven't paid the ferryman.
Yeah.
Zucky the ferryman. In the world outside of Facebook, where a single full-page ad in the New York Times costs over $100,000 and minimum spends for television spots are similar, these corporations are the precious few who can afford to have their messages to customers seen. Thus, they wield tremendous influence over the mediums that they are privileged to host their brands. This can be a problem when corporations are pressured to revoke their patronage if the advertising platform does not comply with certain demands. As we've seen most recently in the case of FedEx and the Washington Redskins. Wow, Washington Redskins. Apparently that's mega racist now. You got Washington in there and the Redskins. These demands can be very specific and carry critical consequences for business regardless of what is decided. Facebook has no such problem because Facebook does not have a select group of patrons that supply the majority of its revenue. It doesn't feel pressured to change course when those patrons make demands. This reality is demonstrated by this brilliant, perhaps defiant statement by Facebook's communication manager, Tom Chanik, who told CNN, quote, "We make policy changes based on principles, not revenue pressures." Boom. Yeah.
That's interesting.
There's about 100% more on this article, so I don't know if there's anything specific you wanted out of that, but more than anything, it's just interesting to have broken down exactly how useless all this virtue signaling for these brands is. I mean, it is exactly virtue signaling. It's not going to hurt Facebook at all. You know, let's see, if all 100 was 6%, a quarter of the 100, you know, that'd be what, 2.5%, something like that, less than 2%. So, you know, all of these huge corporations being pressured, to pull their advertising off of Facebook accounts for less than 2% of the revenue Facebook's pulling.
See, that's crazy because it's
an impotent attempt at
taking down Facebook.
At influencing Zuckerberg.
It's weird because Facebook is such a huge platform. Yet they're kind of operating in that like, hey, we're indie. We kind of get our own, we do our own thing over here, and they're getting away with it.
Yeah, and it shows just how dangerous Zuckerberg is to everybody.
I know.
I mean, if 25 of the world's biggest corporations and biggest advertising spenders
conspire to take him down, and they can't.
Conspire together to take out Zuckerberg, and they can only affect less than 2% of his revenue, that is a scary sort of invincible position for him to be in.
Yeah. Maybe we need to advertise. We need to get people off Facebook by advertising to the people on Facebook that would listen to the show, and then wake them. We need to rattle some cages. Is what we need to do.
I
on
don't
Facebook.
know, man. If I can reach 90 million people or more for $500, we might have to make some
90 million for $500.
something. I don't know exactly how that works out. The reach is further for $500 than the organic reach of 90 million members of a Canary Cry community. That's wild.
Yeah. Well, maybe we'll get to 90 million audience one day, and then we'll be, in the eye of Sauron.
Someday. Yeah, then we could actually pay our bills. That'd be nice.
Yeah, that would be nice. Or pay taxes. Ooh. This year's taxes was especially very, not just troubling, but just it made me so angry.
Troubling.
Taxes
are always troubling.
They're always troubling, but especially this year when they printed $6 trillion, just out of nowhere. It felt so especially wrong this year, because in the past it was like we knew the money supply and all that was the fiat and all that, but this year in particular.
They just printed $6 trillion out of nothing.
And
they still want you to pay your taxes.
Yes, it's just I did not feel right doing it. I just felt so yucky and gross and just I don't know, man. They should just make it exempt. I guess they do sort of. If you just support, if you support a certain percentage of your income to like other platforms or other content creators, you should just be free of taxes. I know it kind of works like that with the big corps and stuff, but I don't know. They should extend that to all the normie people, or just us.
You hear that, normies? Tax breaks. Yeah, right.
Right.
Let's take one more quick break, and then we will finish out the show. We've got some stuff, but
sorry.
Whoa.
Normies.
There it is. All right. Jeez.
Sorry, I'm starting to get tired.
I know. Starting to wait. How are we doing on time? Oh, we got to start moving pretty quick here for you.
We're into the last section.
Yep. So let's take a quick break. Don't go anywhere though, because after the break, we're gonna be we got some cop cams. You can how to hack a cop cam. That's gonna be interesting. Some drone news, and some VR updates, and our favorite, we got a Nephilim update at the end of the show here. So stick around. But until then, we got to thank some producers. And just so everybody knows, what does that mean, talking about producers? Well, here's the thing, folks. We subscribe to the value for value model. That means we put out some value, and if you get any value out of it, you have the opportunity to put some value back in, and thus the value continues to come at you. It's the answer to the problematic advertising model that has taken over all content creation and is really one of the diseases of this world, because the advertising model incentivizes content creators like ourselves and some of your favorite content creators on the internet. It incentivizes them to gain your eyeballs, gain your attention, gain your trust, and then turn around and sell that trust to a big corporation for their own personal gain. So that's not very cool. So as in standing in defiance of that system, we work on the value for value model, which is we make the show, and then those, like the real world, those who support the show, they're not donors, they are producers of the show. Just like, any other piece of show business. If you help pay for the show, you are a producer. You're not just some schmuck. So we like to thank all of our supporters, and especially our new supporters, and give them a shout out and let everybody know that these are producers of this show. So here we go. I'm over on patreon.com/CCNT for Canary Cry News Talk. And we got a couple of new producers since last show. Gons, are you ready?
I have my gong ready.
The gong is ready to be gonged. First of all, I want to thank Danny. Thank you, Danny, new producer. Came in after last episode. Thank you very much, Danny. And also a big old thank you to producer Karen. Thank you, Karen. Wow, we got a Karen.
Yeah.
Karen would like to speak to our manager, and she gets to because she's a producer.
Yeah.
Now, Gons, now everybody knows that was on patreon.com/CCNT. If you would like to help produce the show, you can head over there to patreon.com/CCNT. We also have Canary Cry Radio, patreon.com/Canary Cry Radio. No new producers there, though. No love for the Canary Cry Radio Patreon. That's okay. Now, here's the thing, folks. I know a lot of people don't like Patreon, so you can head over to canarycryradio.com/support.
canarycryradio.com/support.
That's right. And that's another great way to support the show. We've got PayPal options, monthly subscriptions, as well as one-time donations if commitment is not your thing, and also some cryptocurrency stuff over there. So if that's what you're into, you can support the show that way. Gons, any new PayPal producers?
Yes, we have one PayPal producer that is new, and this person will be a recurring producer. And
Thank you.
His name is Steve.
Thank you, Steve. And we got to say, Steve, producer Steve, you have a very interesting business name on your PayPal account. Very intriguing.
Yeah.
We thought for a second we were being supported by a large chain restaurant, but we did some digging. We understand that that's not the case now. But thank you, Steve, anyways. And Gons, just to, we haven't mentioned this in a long time, actually. The P.O. Box. We had somebody in chat, Old2Box, asks, do we take checks? And we do take checks. And you can send that to the P.O. Box, as well as boxes of chocolates. And some people have sent us crafts. Cool. Our Baby Yodas came in the P.O. Box. Let's see if I can find my Baby Yoda while I'm just feeling around my desk blindly. I'll let you put what do you want to do? You want to tell people the
P.O. Box? It's up on the screen.
You want to post it?
It's up on the screen right now. You can send
Is that on canarycryradio.com/support?
Yes, you can scroll down and you'll see it there. And it is P.O. Box 7383, Laguna Niguel, California, 92607.
Yes, so thank you very much. You can send checks there or little presents like Baby Yoda, which I'm just reaching at now. Here we go. Oh, no, I dropped it on the floor. Dang it. Who sent us the Baby Yodas? Do you
don't remember her name. We did give her there goes Basil. I think we gave her a shout out on one of the earlier episodes.
Yeah, she has a Etsy shop.
Store. Yeah.
And with the green screen, Baby Yoda is going to look see-through. But here you go. Fun little Baby Yoda sent by a fan. So thank you very much. Remind us what your Etsy shop is. Send us an email. We'll mention it on the next show.
He's communicating from the other side. You know how when they... You know how when they communicate?
Oh, yeah, when the Jedis turn into ghosts, apparently, and can come visit us. So there's Ghost Baby Yoda. Okay, so cool. Yes, you can find the P.O. Box at canarycryradio.com/support. Also, we have the Canary Cry Radio Roundtable of Knights and Dames for long time and very generous producers. I don't think we have any knightings or damings this episode, do we, Gons?
We do not, but you can go to canarycryradio.com/knighthood and you'll see what that's all about, plus a list of those knights and dames. I think we're at 6 right now, and we haven't had one in a couple episodes, but it's okay. We'll get there.
People are working their way up.
Yeah. So
sounds good.
Yep, you can do that there.
Okay, anything else for this break?
Yeah, I wanted to play a couple, I guess, clips, ISOs and jingles. Yeah, the artwork and stuff. There's some good things to mention here. So, one way you can support the show to be a producer is to send us jingles or some artwork. And Godspeed is in the lead in terms of sending us artwork, relevant artwork, I would say.
Yes.
And he sent us the cover for the Canary Cry Saga. It's a comic book.
An ongoing collection of comic book covers.
Yes.
By Godspeed. I liked this week's.
Yeah, this week is Basiltron.
Yeah, look at
is,
that. Canary Cry Saga. For those who are just listening, you can check it out on the Facebook page. Just search Canary Cry Radio on Facebook, and it's Canary Cry Saga. With the world upgraded, he must face a new great enemy, the grid. And then it's kind of a Tron-based Basil with his VR goggles on. The little speech bubble says, "I am not of this world." And I like this one. I think the storyline of this edition, Gons, is maybe you tried VR to.
I was going to say I'm missing, so I think maybe I got lost.
You tried VR, but you got sucked onto the grid, and so Basiltron has to come rescue you. So. Yeah. That's a good one. Thank you very much, Godspeed. We always love your work.
And actually, Godspeed has a couple more that they made, and they made one. Oh shoot, I have to unlock this real quick before I.
The Canary Cry perfume was a big subject of conversation in the chat.
There was the perfume,
last
but
week.
Before that one, oh my gosh, this thing is not moving. It's like it's got a mind of its own. There's
what is this?
This is the new and improved Canary Cry's leather artificial arm, and it's kind of in that retro style. And it's
is this supposed to be flippy? Is this like
it's
a flippy arm?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's got a speech bubble with one of those retro, girls, showing a display. I never leave home without it. So there's your Canary Cry new and improved leather artificial arm. And then you have the perfume. Let me pull up the perfume. Give me a moment here. Let's see.
Yeah, we had a big conversation about Canary Cry merch and how, Gons, you and I, we've tried to do merch in the past and we just can't. We just can't keep up.
Just can't do it.
We're not made for that. So if anybody out there wants to take responsibility for putting together some Canary Cry merch, we did have some business owners who are listeners of the show offer to brand some of their merch. We might do that. I got to reach out to that guy. But if you're listening, just know we got your email, and I promise we'll get to you. We just got a lot to deal with. So, but Canary Cry perfume was a great one. Smell. What was it? It smells like freedom or something.
It says only the truth can smell this real.
Oh yeah, that's good. And so we got some great artwork. Again, this sort of retro style, maybe early 20th century illustration with a old-timey perfume bottle. Canary Cry perfume. Very good.
And we also got we got a couple more that I wanted to show here, because we have one from Magoo, and I'm just going to show it exactly how it came in our inbox, which is you know what? It actually fixed it for us. It came in sideways, but when I tried to show
some
here,
art
coming in straight forward.
Now, let me just say, I have all confidence. I have all reasons to believe that this was drawn by an adult man. But hey, he's doing his best. It looks like a kindergartner did it, but I think that's kind of the point. And there's a big old Basil who looks like he's 12 feet tall, very good looking. There's a little canary that's flying around, and everything's labeled, by the way, so the canary's a canary. Gons, you're a little short, but that's okay. And then he did a great job of making sure to add a little tiny plant at the bottom labeled oregano. So just to know the difference between basil and oregano.
And he also drew a canary in the sky, and it's labeled canary, so you can't
Very
forget
good.
that.
So thank you, Magoo, for that.
And
your participation in our art projects is appreciated.
And one last one here. This one was by, oh gosh, did I lose the name here?
Why don't you find it, and I'll explain
it.
This
one's by,
this
I
one
think
was
it's by
actually
Karen.
Karen.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one was very cool. It's actually in the style of sort of a modern oil painting, sort of abstract, maybe cityscape. I don't know. We'll put these all up on the Facebook, because you kind of just got to see them. But
yeah, and CanaryCryNewsTalk.com with the episode page, you'll see all the artwork. that we show in each episode.
And it says COVID-19 sucks.
Yep.
Which is very good. Very good. Thank you very much. Did you figure out it was from Karen?
Yeah, I think so. This one's
okay.
Karen.
Thank you very much, Karen. We appreciate that. Yep. So all this art will be up on the Facebook and CanaryCryNewsTalk.com. We appreciate all of our very talented artists. And that is one way you can help produce the show, is produce some artwork for us in all different styles, whatever you are called to do. But there's other ways, such as producing jingles and songs for us.
Yeah, or finding ISOs from interesting movies or documentaries.
Let's play a couple of those.
Yeah, Mike sent us a series of I guess they're just ISOs from the 1938 Boris Karloff movie Invisible Menace. And this is the 7-second clip he sent us. The volume is a little low, but we'll see if we can hear it here.
So you almost got liquidated, huh?
What's that mean, liquidated?
I don't know. I never had any.
Is something like being vaccinated?
Yeah, practically the same thing.
So, vaccinated, liquidated, same thing, especially in 1938.
You almost got liquidated, huh? I don't know what that is. Is that like vaccinated? Yeah, it's the same thing. That's a good one. I like that.
So that one was great. Thank you, Mike. And Andreas sent us something good.
Tell me something good.
Yeah.
Which was a clip I didn't know that I wanted until I hear it. Now I'm so glad we have it. we might fit in a Tell Me Something Good segment in the show in the future.
Yeah.
So thank you very much. Very good listening out for some good clips. Play that one more time.
Oh, gotta get back. Hold on. Here we go.
Tell me something good.
Nice and slowed down to help avoid the censorship that we might get for that.
Yeah,
but
it's okay. You know what would be good is ending the break and going into our last segment here.
Let's do it. Wake up, sleepyhead.
Yes, it's wake up time.
Hey, yo, wake up.
Okay, time to get into it here. Let's talk about some hackers here, Gons. You ever feel like you're being watched?
Actually, I do feel like it right now. I'm standing in front of a webcam.
Did you ever have the feeling that you were being watched?
Nice one. This is Vice.com. Article titled, Hackers Are Finding Footage on Police Body Cams They Bought on eBay. Curious hackers are buying decommissioned police body cameras online, and some are finding troves of video evidence after successfully extracting data from the devices. Last week, Twitter user // found one such cache while searching inside an Axon-branded body camera he bought on eBay. Based on screenshots of the extracted footage, which include people in military fatigue searching a home and an officer filling out paperwork, the camera appears to belong to military police at Fort Huaca. Huacaca? Oh gosh. Huachuca. A U.S. Army installation in southeast Arizona. I searched for one on eBay to wrap up an old to-do in my brain to buy some and examine them, / told Motherboard, providing a link to the eBay listing, which advertised a non-working Axon body camera with a missing battery. I've actually had it about a month now, just sitting. To access the data, / copied the raw disk image from an internal SD card mounted inside the device. He then used an old U.S. Air Force forensic tool from the early 2000s called Foremost, which successfully located video files within the mass of unencrypted data. The device in question appears to be an older version of the Axon body, which normally transfers video data to a computer after being docked in a proprietary cradle. And then he's got the tweet there that shows what he did. Quote, zero encryption. It was just in the raw, said // who posted some screenshots to confirm the footage's authenticity. Quote, as I understand the specific system I have is from 2015 and is not necessarily representative of newer technology from Axon. I've not done any analysis, though. The eBay seller did not respond to a request for comment. No kidding. It turns out that used body cameras are commonly for sale online, and several other hackers followed up with their own own findings. DJ Irongrove, another Twitter user who extracted data from Axon body camera SD cards he bought using the local trading app OfferUp, described the process as stupid easy. Quote, the type of footage on them covered the range from traffic stops, responding to calls at retail stores, calls to houses, etc., he told Motherboard. I skimmed through enough to find out that they weren't from a military installation because that is super toxic. Okay. Others responded that they had found and purchased more used cameras on eBay to see what they could find. Axon, formerly Taser, has become the biggest company selling body cameras and cloud storage solutions to police ever since the stun gun company rebranded as the police tech firm. The company capitalized on calls for police transparency after the emergence of Black Lives Matter movement in 2014. Since then, police killings of unarmed civilians have continued undeterred, with police departments across the country often obscuring or deleting footage. With the recent uprisings over the murders of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor, activists have pointed out that even video evidence isn't enough to produce systemic change. Many of the hackers, including Dotslash, said that they only looked at the footage to confirm the camera's origin and intend to return the devices to authorities to avoid any possible legal issues. But that hasn't stopped others from buying up stocks of used cameras to uncover what secrets they hold. Quote, we are aware of this issue and have launched an investigation looking into the matter, an Axon representative told the Arizona Mirror in a statement. We are also reevaluating our processes to better emphasize proper disposal procedure for our customers. So there you go. Very interesting. You know, they say once you create some data, it's never really gone, and that is the same case with these police body cameras.
Yeah, and it goes to show that, yeah, like you said, anything that you put in the digital format is very difficult to destroy. It might be get it to a point where it's inaccessible, but you never know. With a lot of the quantum computing that's starting to get built out, they might be able to reconstruct some of that data.
Yeah, it seems like a really fascinating thing to do. If I had the skills in the software, it seems like a fun thing to do. Although you never know, you might see some pretty disturbing stuff.
That's the
on
thing.
there.
If you find something, and I think that one of the hackers there was pretty smart to say, like, yeah, I'm giving it back because I don't want to be responsible for having any kind of footage that would get him into trouble.
Especially from a military base. Now you're talking about federal crimes.
Yeah. Well, yeah. If he sees something, he can be brought in, and now he's got to either sign NDAs. Now he's roped in. He's roped into the whole network, and you got to, stay quiet, or you're going to go crazy because you have to not tell anybody. What?
It seems silly that they would sell these used body cameras. Like, if I was Axon or whatever they are, like, I would have definitely added a provision in the contract. Once you're done with them, send them back. Don't sell these to civilians.
Yeah, I don't know. There's obviously there's some holes in the system there.
Right.
And compliance. And that's probably part of it too, is some of these folks don't know the extent of how data gets stored and how it can be re-accessed and things like that.
Yep. Data is never really gone. You got to destroy the actual hardware, which is why the CIA makes a practice of drilling holes in their hard drives. Take a tip from the CIA.
Yeah, the CIA or Mr. Robot. You got to burn it. You got to put it in the microwave.
There you go.
Burn him up.
Kind of really go nuts. Okay. Yeah. I don't know. No other real
nothing crazy.
Dots to connect there. It's just fascinating.
And just keep in mind, anything you record might be stored somewhere and accessed by someone else.
Even you, police.
Yep. Even the police. We got a couple drone stories.
Drone strikes have saved lives.
Can we shoot them down if over our property?
Drones.
This is the new Atlas.com. AI system could locate pilots of intrusive drones.
Ooh.
And it says here, when an unauthorized drone is being flown in a restricted airspace, the authorities understandably want to locate its operator. A new AI-based system may allow them to do so. Let's see. First of all, it is possible to determine the approximate location of a drone's pilot using multiple widely spaced sensors to triangulate the originating point of its radio control signal. Those sensors do already have to be in place. However, Plus, they may not be able to pick up the radio signal if it's obstructed by other wireless signals, such as those from Wi-Fi or Bluetooth that are present in the area. Seeking a better alternative, researchers from Israel's Ben Gurion University of the Negev, which seems to come up quite a bit with a lot of these advanced surveillance techs, have developed a system in which cameras optically track the drones' flight path in three-dimensional space. That video is analyzed utilizing a deep neural network, which was trained, quote-unquote, on previously recorded footage in which the location of the drone operator was known. Since pilots typically keep their drones within line of sight, or if nothing else, within radio range, analysis of flight patterns such as the aircraft's changing vertical and horizontal location, along with its tendency to move along a path that arcs around a central point that's off to one side, can be used to ascertain where the pilot is. As a result, in computer simulations utilized so far, the system was able to locate a drone's operator with 78% accuracy. That figure should rise as the technology is developed further, which will include testing it on actual drones in the real world. A paper on the research, which is being led by computer science student Eliyahu Mashihadi, was recently presented at the online 4th International Symposium on Cybersecurity, Cryptography, and Machine Learning. So, yep, even those rogue drone people will not be able to get away with it with the kind of technology, the kind of surveillance tech that they're
that's pretty wild. I mean, we've talked about a lot of crazy capabilities that artificial intelligence has been able to, in the ways of data analysis, visual analysis, stuff like that, recreating photos out of just a scratch of data.
Yeah.
But this is pretty wild in just taking some drone footage and being able to detect exactly where the pilot of the drone is standing. I could see how this would be useful to a government, because there's a small but active group of drone operators, owners, just consumer drone people who like to take pictures or video of places that the government would not like them to.
Right.
And then post it on YouTube and stuff. And it's kind of, I think they consider themselves kind of a watchdog organization, especially with things like FEMA camps and, kind of the weird tinfoil hat type of stuff.
Area 51, that whole.
Yeah, right. And this could this is not good news for rogue drone operators. I'll tell you what.
And along with this story, the next one is also a drone story, but it's a little more, I guess, entertaining. Well, it's got more of a message here.
Okay.
Where is it?
Drone strikes have saved lives.
Can we shoot them down if over our property?
Drones.
I don't know why we keep picking CNN here, but this is CNN.com. 300 drones.
So nobody can, accuse us of just reading crazy right-wing articles all the time.
It's true. 300 drones flew above Seoul, Korea, to thank frontline workers and encourage coronavirus preventative measures. So I'm going to play the video here. It's about a 1-minute clip. We've seen some of this stuff in terms of like some crazy drone choreography to just some pretty compelling looking night sky, things. But here we have a bunch of drones again, making a mask in the sky, making the virus. Can you see that, Basil? They have the virus there.
Let me click over. Hold on.
I'm gonna try to show it again here.
There
so
we
yeah,
go.
the drones are in the shape of a virus, kind of floating around in balls.
Oh,
and then a mask comes up, and it's pretty interesting. The government ran a social media campaign to thank frontline medical workers. They got medical faces or people that look like medical people with masks, and a couple with masks on trying to kiss each other. Which, but then it shows social distancing, so it's got arrows pointing both
two
ways.
Little arrows pointing them away. No kissing allowed.
And
Wow,
some water
that's-
droplets in hands. It's pretty intense. Making reminding people to wash their hands.
Washy.
And thanks to you with big heart in the sky. I mean, it's pretty complex. I mean, it's kind of cool what they can do with it. It's just it's super blue beamish. It's kind of like pre-blue beam.
Well, I was gonna say Operation Blue Beam. Now, for those who may not know what Operation Blue Beam
It's Project
is,
Blue Beam. Yeah.
Project Blue Beam. Just give a little rundown of it so they don't just feel alone in the dark.
Project Blue Beam is an alleged project to project into the sky images to provoke or to deceive the masses into believing a second coming or Allah has come or some kind of alien
specifically
arrival.
a government project because they wanted to use it for psychological warfare.
Right.
They thought if they could put religious symbols in the sky, like in the Middle East, if there's a firefight or something with jihadists or something, that they could project some sort of godly figure in the sky and, gain some sort of military advantage that way. And then it extended from a military use to a social engineering use that could be used to simulate, any religious type of
Event.
scene in the sky event, or aliens coming down or whatever.
Yeah, it's been it was introduced to me in the context of aliens, like a faked alien invasion or the arrival of aliens, and certainly if they have to combine the technology. If just projecting it might not do anything, using that with the voice to skull technology, where you have like this direct communication of language into your brain, which they also used in the Middle East to project Allah, like Allah speaking to you or whatever. Then you have a complete ability to convince people.
Using these techniques for psychological, specifically religious, psychological warfare against religious enemies. And then, of course, can be, used not just on military enemies, but ideological enemies or sociological enemies or whatever in sort of a social engineering sense. So turns out they don't just need to project things in the sky. They can just use some drones.
And then they can locate who's doing it. If they ever do, if there's ever some rogue messaging going on in the skies, people can triangulate and figure out who the drivers are.
Oh yes.
And then when they find out that it's the AI robots, then that's when it's all over.
Then Skynet has had enough.
It's over.
Aliens.
All right, let's talk about VR for a second. Then we will be wrapping up the show here in a bit. This is Ogonix.org. Icelandic virtual reality meditation startup Flow receives $500,000 USD from Iceland Venture Studio Fund. Iceland Venture Studio, a fund devoted to growing Icelandic tech startups, has announced that it has raised $2 million in USD and has made additional investments into its first portfolio companies. These include Flow, which develops immersive virtual reality enhanced meditation programs, and Retina Risk, which has created an algorithm that can help predict diabetic retinopathy years in advance. Both companies have received an investment of $500,000 from the fund. In addition, Iceland Venture Studios has stated that is blah, blah, blah. This article is mainly about this investment firm in Iceland, but I thought it was very interesting. Flow, mixing a virtual reality enhanced meditation program together there. So, going back to the Mercerism, the empathy box, where, human biology is not enough to, meditation and all these types of things, which of course are part of certain new agey type agendas going on in the world, enhancing that with technology to increase the effect of meditation.
Yeah, and the thing that really jumped out at me with this story is that I'm not going to defend meditation here as a practice, but if you're like a meditation purist, this is like completely diametrically opposed to what you want to accomplish with meditation, isn't it?
Right.
Don't you want to be able to detach from your environment in a sense? And I don't know, try to find some mental space that can't be disrupted by your
peace,
environment, and
not having a distraction, having a distraction-free experience. But when they say virtual reality enhanced meditation, what this does lean towards more is like transcendental meditation or visualization type exercises, or maybe even a little bit of astral projection or something.
I was gonna say, it's more of like a digital version of an outer body experience that they're trying to invoke here. And what's interesting too is at the very beginning of the little ad they have here, flow meditation for modern life, learn and practice meditation for a successful life. They always push that like positive.
Yes, it's always done in this like self-helpy, be a better person.
So
type of thing.
you mean if I wear these goggles and I travel to these places in my eyeballs, I will have a successful life?
Let us hypnotize you with our technologically advanced, the electromagnetic screen emitters, and we will send you into the ether where you can explore the spiritual world.
Yeah. The other thing I had highlighted in the article here was the mention here, the fund is seeking investment in companies that are focused around decentralization of private data, algorithms, privacy, process of data security. And I just again I'm just kind of confused as to how privacy can be achieved when you have a VR system that is like really getting in on your biometrics. You know what I mean? I don't know.
I'm already a little skeezed out by the Oculus here, because now on the Oculus, whenever I open up many web pages have this. Definitely the major websites, even CNN.com has this. A little notification will come up and says, "Would you like to allow the CNN virtual reality experience into your headset?" No, get it out of here. I don't want your virtual reality experience. I'm just here to sit in my virtual office and, I don't know, have big googly eyes.
All right. So, there you go. I'm sure we're going to see more and more of this type of technology being funded in the near future here.
Yep. And it's all part of the, I don't know. We need to get some 33 virtual reality updates here.
I know.
We need the signaling to take place so we know when it's time to get out.
By the way,
because then Basiltron will come rescue his best buddy.
I know. I'm lost in the Matrix. Ready Player One. Did you hear about Ready Player 2?
No.
Oh, yeah. It's coming. Ready Player 2. So clever. Such a clever name.
Did you watch the movie?
I did, yeah.
I liked it. It was fun.
It was all right.
They put a lot of video game Easter eggs in there that as a gamer I could appreciate, but it was definitely a dystopian look into what the future of humanity looks like.
It was a licensing nightmare. A licensing nightmare to make that movie.
Oh, yeah. Oh, totally.
Yeah. The one thing I always pointed out, just real briefly, is the fact that at the very beginning, it talks about how in Oasis, which is that virtual world, you can be anything, you can do anything you imagine to do is possible. And that is the precise line in Genesis chapter 11 that talks about the Tower of Babel and why God had to like screw up the languages, was because if they can do this, then nothing they imagine to do will be impossible. So I just thought it was interesting that they would use that verbiage.
Yeah.
But
okay,
yeah.
Let's get that Nephilim update and call it a show.
Nephilim update.
So this is scientificamerican.com. Aliens could have 100 eyes. This was originally published in November of 1854, and I just thought it was an interesting little thing here. Sir David Brewster, who supposes the stars to be inhabited as being, quote, the hope of the Christians, asks, quote, Is it necessary that an immortal soul be hung upon a skeleton of bone? Must it see with 2 eyes and rest on a duality of limbs? May it not rest in a Polyphemus with 1 eyeball, or an Argus with 100? May it not reign in the giant forms of the Titans?
Wow, sounds like some real biblical angel references here.
And direct the 100 hands of Bararius? Supposing it were true, what has it to do with the hope of the Christian? Nothing at all. This speculating in the physical sciences independent of any solid proofs one way or other, and dragging in religion into such controversies, neither honors the author of religion, nor adds a single laurel to the chaplets of the sciences, nor will we ever be able to tell whether Mars or Jupiter contains a single living object. So, yeah,
there
not the greatest Nephilim update, but 130-year-old comment mentioning 100-year-old or 100-eyeballed aliens and Titans and stuff. Yeah.
That'll get it. Wow.
Cool.
Published 1854.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Wow.
Nephilim update. Nephilim update. Nephilim update.
Tell me something good. This is where the tell me something good.
I know, we need it.
Segment will go in. We'll
you
end the show
do it
on tell
real
me
quick?
something good. I kind of do want to take it, but
here we go.
not today.
All right.
Not today.
All right.
We'll do it next time. Okay, everybody. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Canary Cry News Talk. Here's the thing. Remember, we do shows 3 times a week. It's crazy. I know. We put out like 10 hours a week. So make sure to tune in. Guys, have you seen all these comments of people complaining about how long the show is?
Oh, really? They complained it was too short, and now they're complaining it's too long.
I know. We just can't
We can
win,
never
man.
win.
We can't do anything right. First he complains it's too short. Now they complain it's too long. But you know what? Here's the thing. If it's too long for you, here's a secret. You can just stop listening to it halfway through. It's okay.
Or you can...
I won't know. We won't even know that you do that. It won't hurt our feelings. You don't got to tell us to shut up. Okay. But in any case, we will be back on Monday. What is that? That's going to be the 13th?
13th, yeah.
We'll be back on the 13th sometime between noon and 5 p.m. PST. So make sure to turn on your notifications, show up for the live show. And if you can't make it for the live show, remember, we post the podcast version, which means you can listen to it wherever you are in the world. Just head to Apple Podcasts or whatever podcatcher that you use and subscribe to Canary Cry News Talk. You can also go through the Canary Cry Radio archives there. Lots of good material there. Catch you up on the worldview that you need to survive the Canary Cry News Talk experience. So go check that out. And the audio quality is significantly better on the podcast version because Gons is just so good. But like I said, remember us for Monday the 13th, and also especially remember us because we're going to need to shout out to some producers. If you want to become a producer of the show, get a shout out on the show and help, first of all, help us stand in defiance of the worldly system of advertising. We're only able to do that because of our producers like you. So if you want to participate in that system, value for value system, head to patreon.com/CCNT for Canary Cry News Talk. That's a great way to do it. But if you don't like Patreon, that's okay. Head to canarycryradio.com/support.
canarycryradio.com/support.
That's right. You can head over there, get some PayPal, one-time donation if you don't like commitment. Also some cryptocurrency. Great ways to support the show, become a producer. Also, you can become a producer or you can help produce the show by sending in artwork if you are an artistic person, or jingles or songs. Whatever you do, you can do it for the show, and we'll put it on the show, put it on the Facebook page and the website, all over the place. That is highly appreciated. And any of that creative work you can send to canarycryradio@gmail.com. That's canarycryradio@gmail.com. So we appreciate that and thank all of our artists for this show. You guys are the best. There's other ways to help out the show as well. One of the big ones is leaving ratings and reviews. You can leave a rating and a review wherever you listen to the show, but especially helpful on Apple Podcasts and other podcatchers. Rating is, stars 1 to 5. You just follow your heart on that one. And then a review is words that explain why you love the show so much. So please do that. It helps us out. We'll be reading some more of those on the show in coming episodes. But one of the greatest ways to help the show out is to send it directly to a friend. Y'all got family and friends who are beginning to wake up and question the reality around them, question the authorities that are telling them what to think. And what a better way to help them wake up than to send them an episode of Canary Cry News Talk or Canary Cry Radio. The best way to do that, the easiest way, is to send them just straight up episodes, whether it be off the YouTube channel. I think it's better to share the podcasts because a lot of people are more, they can slowly make their way through a podcast while they're doing the dishes or something instead of having to watch a YouTube video. But if you need more help on how to do that, here's what you do. You just walk right up to them, you grab them by the cage, and then you shake it.
The end of the world occurred pretty much as we had predicted.
I want to shake things up, stir up some controversy, rattle a few cages. Hey, stop that! You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man, a crusader for the little guy. Leave the bird alone. Never. Rattle a few cages. Rattle a few.
Oops, I totally screwed that up.
Whoopsies.
The human race will have every opportunity to improve.
And if they don't? Jingle extravaganza.
Sorry.
Yeah, listen to you go there. Well, that's okay. Thanks, everybody, for listening to the show. We appreciate it so much. And make sure to tune in on Monday because we'll be back. And make sure to stick around now. We got the CCR mixtape at the end of the show here. So stick around. Some great work by some producers just like you. And remember, help produce the show. Patreon.com/CCNT and CanaryCryRadio.com/support. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you next time, but until then, think outside the cage.
It's got to be biblical.
Well, isn't that special?
Aliens.
We will launch a new age.
Before it is too late.
And melt those babies into candles.
Look it up.
Shake things up, shake things up. I want to shake things up, shake things up. Leave the bird alone. I want to stir up some controversy. I want to rattle a few cages. I'm the last angry man. You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man. I'm the last angry man. You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man. A crusader for the little guy. Little guy. Well, we'll see about that.
Whatever, Illuminati.
In the future, humans will be confined in a people's zoo.
People, I'll keep you safe and warm in my people's zoo. I'll keep you safe and warm now in my people's zoo. You, yeah, you in my people's zoo. I'll keep the cameras on. Fat